Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. I very nearly forgot what this show was and said a different thing that isn't this show, but hello and welcome.
Welcome to Dragon Heist Water Deep Deep Deep.
Well, yes, welcome to Deep Dragon Heist. All right. No, welcome to Infinite
space.
Horizon. We are in space today. We are in space. Yeah.
This is a bachelor TTRPG. My
This
bad.
is
Oh God, wait. Okay, I need to talk to you about something. Break, because there's a thing. There's this whole thing, right?
the chaotic energy that we're bringing to this already is just anyway. Hello, welcome. I don't actually have too many announcements this go around. Because there's fucking nothing happening. No, I'm just kidding. Everything's fine. It's just a normal schedule this week, so nothing super exciting to announce other than the fact that you'll be seeing our faces. There actually, you know what? That's not true. There is a change to our Ramblemancy this week, a sort of last minute addition. So we are still going to be talking about preparing for the game, both from a GM and from a player's perspective, but we're also going to be joined by a guest. That would be one Claire Jackson, or the Infinite Construct, who many of you may know from an interview that I was in that on their channel. They interviewed me about Cypher system and intrusions. So Claire will be here joining us on Friday, and I'm very excited to have them on. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I've got. So yeah, anybody else who has stuff to talk about? That's it. That's all I have.
PowerPlay last one of our solo episodes is this Sunday, which will be B's episode.
Yeah.
And all of us are convinced that they're just gonna ruin our lives. Like, I'm so ready. I'm so excited. It's gonna be super fun. I'll be back on PowerPlay in a few weeks. That's all. Otherwise, I'm just here.
Amazing.
Oh God, the dream sequence. Oh God, it was
on
so
Sunday.
fucking
so
good.
Cool. It was so good.
I was listening to it. I was like, I want this to be like an animated short. I kind of want to see this.
It was actually incredible. Anyways, watch
PowerPlay.
It's fun.
And also just there, so that episode was just fucking hilarious. It's only just watching two friends be friends on screen, and it was just great.
Dale Kingsmill was Omar's guest.
It was just them roasting each other, like banting and roasting.
I would expect nothing less.
Oh, it was so good.
Great.
You have a date with Destiny. You should check it out. It's great.
Do I have anything?
You always have things.
Let me see. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I have the usual streams I'm gonna be on. Oh yes, tomorrow. I don't know what time, but just follow me on Twitter and I'll tweet about it. But I'm gonna be on a panel called Rolling for Solidarity, or Roll for Solidarity.
Yeah.
It's an all Black and Asian panel. We're gonna be talking about experience in the TTRPG space. I'm gonna be on Transplanar RPG on Twitch. I'll retweet that by the end of today so you can see what that is. But yeah, we had the first set of panels today, and my panel's gonna be tomorrow. Can't remember the time. I should probably check in that. So probably check that. But yeah, that's the only main thing. It's gonna be for charity. We're gonna be raising money for, I think, a couple of charities. I can't remember which ones. I'll mention them at the end of stream. I'll look up in between now and then. But yeah, that's the thing I'm in. That matters.
Excellent.
I have a quick. Oh, go ahead.
I was asked, were you posting about a casting thing? Is that?
Oh yes, I've got.
No.
Not yet. Keep an eye out. I'm gonna be putting out casting calls for multiple charity streams. I told Lucas about this. I have multiple charity streams to cast. So keep an eye out.
Ooh.
For a bunch of different charities. So yeah, just keep a watch.
Cool. Oh, I just quickly have a short announcement. I think this Friday, supposedly this Friday, I will say, my short book of poetry is coming out, and I'll tweet about it. I'll probably post it in the Discord and stuff like that. But it's called Alternate Somewhere Where No One Dies. It's going to be like $3 to download, so it's really cool. I'm excited. And it's really, I think it's a good time to come out because I wrote it last summer when like lots of things were happening, obviously, and so it's kind of come back around for the summer, I think. So I'm super excited about it. And there is at least one poem that mentions aliens. So there's your hook.
So that's the Infinite Horizon cameo. It's a connected universe now. We share the same universe as
Yeah.
Olivia's book. So
There you go.
Awesome.
And there are some peach poems in it, like not the character, but like there are like poems that have peach imageries, like just the fruit.
The fruit specifically.
Excellent.
I have
yeah.
commissions open on my. You can check status of that on my Twitter, and whatever else I'm up to, because I realized today that I do like a lot of really weird things, and none of it really lines up together. So anything I do is there.
To commission Remy, I have many things made by Remy in my home, and they're all amazing.
Awesome. Well, if that's everything, then I think it's a good time to jump into tonight's episode. And we're back. Before I get into the recap, I remembered one last announcement that I needed to make, which is that as of this past Sunday, all of the orders for any of the giveaways rewards have been ordered, and most, maybe all of them, have shipped. So keep an eye on those of you who won stuff in the giveaway. Keep an eye on your mail for the next couple of weeks, cause you got stuff coming. So yeah. Okay. Previously, sorry. Damn it, John, is all I have to say. Previously on Infinite Horizon, after securing Sulon's entry into the Resistance, the crew sat down to plan their next move over breakfast. While they were enjoying their first public meal in months, Taeyeon spotted a cybernetically enhanced humanoid watching them, and on impulse teleported them to the table with the rest of the crew. The stranger introduced themselves as CT and explained that he had a potential job for them. The crew were eager for details, but it was only after signing an NDA that CT was able to divulge the details of the mission. Calvin Hayes, a wealthy businessman, was looking for specialists to accompany him on an expedition seeking remnants of an ancient society in a mostly unexplored region of space. The crew were interested but wanted to hear more from Hayes. They followed CT back to Hayes' office, where he reiterated many of the details that CT had explained. While he was pontificating, however, Peach read his surface thoughts and learned that Hayes' focus for the expedition centered around two things: prime conduits and Voxora. After hearing Hayes out, the crew signed onto the expedition, electing to leave a few members of the crew behind to keep an eye on Awakener and Dr. Amrid. Patch, who had been behaving strangely towards CT since his arrival, pulled CT aside after the meeting. After confirming with him that CT's purpose here was to protect the Voxora homeworld from discovery, Patch asked him if other Voxora were aware of their involvement in this mission. CT said that he hadn't informed the others of Patch's presence yet, and he was reserving judgment on what to do about them pending further observation. But for now, the most important thing was keeping their shared homeworld from discovery. And that is where we left off. So, jumping in from there. I think that unless anybody had any particular follow-up that they wanted to do after the decision to sign on last time, I think we may cut to the next day. So, anybody have anything that they want to do?
I mean, Bina probably would have at some point gone back to Awakener and like prepared the ship for a long period of inactivity. Like,
Yeah.
which there are people staying behind who probably could have done that, but she likes to have her hands,
Yeah.
all four of them, in
Fair
things.
enough.
So she probably would have just bumbled around for a while just to spend a little bit of time with Awakener and maybe a little bit of time with Euphoria after she just got it back. We don't know how long we're going to be on, but yeah, just getting Awakener ready for a long period of inactivity.
Okay, sounds good. We're gonna go ahead then and cut to the next day. I'm gonna start with CT. Your you've managed to hire a team of specialists for the expedition. You have several others that have signed on as well, but you also know that Hayes, being who he is, has also brought along what seems like the majority of his own private security as well. So basically, as you're kind of like leaving the compound, you're seeing groups of like the armed private security packing duffels with what look like weapons and like explosives and armaments, things like that. And you can see that a couple of them just sort of look at you as you pass, as they're just sort of packing stuff in the bags, and one of them just sort of shrugs and like notices you looking and just shrugs and says, "Never know what you're gonna need on these kinds of things."
I do not believe that such things will become necessary. However, you may think whatever you may think.
He looks at you and looks back at the duffel where he's like in the process of packing like an assault weapon into it, and just looks back at you and says, "Yeah, I think I'll do that," and just continues packing it. But you make your way out of the compound. The forefront in your mind at the moment is the kind of the last barrier to the expedition, which is that in order to reach the region of space that the expedition needs to reach, you'll have to be passing through some of corporate space. Not heavily populated corporate space, mind you, but still an area where there will be checkpoints that you'll need proper authorization for. The kind of authorization that Mr. Hayes has refused to go through the proper channels to get, largely because it would require explaining your purpose. So, at the moment, that's kind of what's on your to-do list for the expedition.
I wouldn't know any individuals like specifically at the top of my mind that would be able to assist with that.
I will say that for the sake of this, to kind of reflect what I assume, because this is not like a new problem that has presented itself. This is something that like it's been like from the very beginning of the expedition planning has been mentioned as something that you will eventually have to deal with. So I'll say, in order to reflect your any kind of research that you've been doing, why don't we go ahead and have a roll here?
Okay.
So this is gonna be an intellect roll, and this is basically gonna be effectively this is a knowledge roll of sorts. So yeah, let's see. I think the difficulty on this one is going to be 4.
Okay. I know a little bit about everything. So
that eases the difficulty 1 step.
Yep.
Okay. So that's okay. So then that's down to a difficulty 3 right now.
Remind me how effort works, because this is the first time that I would have to use it.
Yeah, so effort, basically the way that it works is that if you spend a level of effort, you can reduce for each level of effort that you spend, you can reduce the difficulty by 1 step, and the first spend costs 3 points from the pool, in this case intellect. This and every subsequent level of effort is 2. And your edge, whatever your edge is in intellect, will subtract from the total amount spent.
Okay. So then I will use effort in this
Okay.
case to drop it down, but then I think I'm just gonna roll from that.
Okay, so you just had a difficulty 2, so you need a 6 or better.
I got a 2.
Okay.
No.
So you don't know anyone, like you basically haven't been able to turn up any specific individuals who might know anything, but you do know that there are quite a few places that you would probably be able to look. And moreover, from some conversations that you were privy to the day before, you also have a pretty solid idea that this Bekker person that you met probably knows a little bit, possibly might know a little more than you would about where to find specific types of information.
That was gonna be my next go, is probably gonna go back to the people that
Yeah.
I was with yesterday.
Yeah.
So probably head over back to where they're staying at.
Okay. Yeah. So you make your way back towards the kind of the capital complex. There is a slight issue at the at the entrance as you're making your way through, and security basically is like, hold up, no visitors past this point unless you have clearance.
And I know what the reason why is.
It's the capital. These are diplomats' quarters back this way.
Of course, and it would not matter if I am acquainted with individuals that are currently staying in quarters in the capital.
If you're a guest and you know how to reach them, then I would say that might be your best bet. But until we receive any kind of confirmation from anyone with authorization, we're gonna have to keep you here.
Thank you for your time. That was most appreciative. And walk away and try to find some place that is not guarded on the building.
Fair enough. I will say, we could do this because I think it's fun, but you almost certainly would have a way of contacting the crew.
Yeah,
But
and I don't care right now.
cool. All right. Cool. Great. Excellent. Okay. So, yeah, you kind of circle around for a bit, just sort of unobtrusively trying to kind of probe defenses of the place a little bit. So eventually you start. Actually, let's let's go ahead and have we're gonna have another roll here.
Okay.
Give me another roll. This is gonna be another intellect roll, and the difficulty on this one is gonna be 3, I think. This is more of like an investigation kind of situation here.
Okay. Well, I am trained in perception, so
I think that'll help you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So that brings it down to a difficulty 2.
and I am trained in an eye for detail also.
Excellent. Okay. So in
That's 1 then.
that down to a difficulty 1.
I'm gonna roll on that.
Okay, yeah, I just need a 3 or better.
Got a 15.
Excellent. Okay, so you sort of sit for a moment and just sort of you kind of observe, without really looking like you're observing, just sort of watching as things happen. And as you're sort of sitting there, you see that basically what happens is you start taking note of specific details, such as the time it currently is. You start looking at the guards, and you notice that they seem like they're not standing up straight. They're not like, particularly vigilant. They're leaning up against stuff. It kind of looks like these are people who are at the end of a shift. And as you're watching, you see as it doesn't take long, actually, after making that conclusion, before you note another set of security who are making their way over, and you see basically what's happening is a guard change is what's happening right now. Peak chaotic time, particularly as it's relatively early in the morning. People are coming in and out, starting their day at work. There are people who are basically lining up at the security checkpoint because as the guards are changing over, nobody's being let through, and basically it's a fair distraction here. This is sort of a pretty distractible moment.
Mhm. Yeah, I will. Gonna get in with the crowd on that. Try to blend in there.
Excellent. All right, gonna just require a quick roll from you. That's gonna be this is gonna be a speed roll, and the difficulty on this one is also gonna be 3.
Okay.
Love that we haven't
I'm-
rolled in a while, and now every roll we're making up
Every
for it right
roll-
now for this
Yeah.
one test. It's great.
Watch me work
No,
on
this is good
mic roll
practice.
into
I've
there.
not rolled in Cypher before. I don't think that I have something for this.
Well, you can always
So-
spend effort.
I will do that.
All right. 1 level.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're back down to a difficulty 2. So you need a 6 or better right now.
Okay. Gotta roll. I got a 14.
Excellent. So
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say 4.
So as the guard is changing and you're sort of maneuvering yourself, you see people are starting to gather. It's less of like a queue and more of like a loose gathering of people who are sort of building up there as security is changing over. So go ahead and Remy, tell me how does CT get through this?
I'm assuming that people are like flashing documents of some kind, like an ID badge or whatever. Probably has some kind of like the backside of an ID that just shows like a barcode or something, just like tucked away in one of his pockets, and it just flashes that as he like slides through with everyone else. That kind of looks like it could be some kind of ID just flipped the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. So as you're making your way through, like the guards who are just come on shift are now in the process of not only checking IDs as they come in, but also like they logged themselves in. Like you can see them flashing IDs over their consoles, and basically like registering themselves as being there on time for their shifts. And as people are walking through, just sort of flashing IDs, you can see that like that initial kind of slightly flustered, trying to get everything done quickly, get these important government officials into the building, to the place where they work, as quickly as possible without delays. You sort of flash yours and move past, and one of the guards kind of like looks at you and then just shit, and then goes back to like what yeah, basically like goes back to just sort of grabbing like IDs, whatever. You just move on through.
Nice.
As you make your way through past, you kind of reach this kind of intersection in the corridor, and as you're walking up to it, Bekker walks around the corner and he just sort of looks at you and says, "Not bad."
You were watching that.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Is this something that you do often?
It's literally my job. Yeah.
Good, then you seem to be the person that I need to talk to about certain things.
Kind of glances past you and just says, "Well, let's here. Why don't we step into my office?" And as the two of you kind of round the corner, all of a sudden you watch as this sort of magenta ring just sort of appears in front of the two of you, and he just steps right through it. As you kind of take a look, you kind of look around it, like there's a totally different room through this portal. He just sort of turns around and looks at you.
Yes, of course. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you step through and it closes immediately behind you right as you see like a couple of people rounding the corner. And you find yourself sitting in not a room as you originally thought, but actually it appears to be the interior of a ship. And as you step through and you glance around, you can see you're in sort of the cargo hold of a ship. There's a hovercraft sort of parked not too far away, and another vehicle, smaller, where you actually see Bina, who is currently sort of like around it, sort of like polishing, like.
Very lovingly.
Mhm. Becker just says, "All right, so what did you want to talk about?" Bina, you're suddenly aware of their appearance here.
Is this often how you conduct business with individuals that you met suddenly a day ago?
Only the ones I'm trying to throw off balance.
I will not grace that with an answer. But I am looking for individuals or processes in which I can obtain false documents in order to allow his passage through through corporate space.
Okay, yeah. If I had maybe a week, I could probably track something down. But failing that, huh? I actually, he kind of glances over towards where Bina is, and says, "I actually have been working on finding somebody who actually specializes in this kind of forgery. Uh, in fact," and he now fully turns to you, Bina. He says, "In fact, I was actually on my way here to tell you. I found Riot."
Oh. Okay.
I am not in the loop. Who is this individual?
Petty criminal.
Potential contact.
Potential contact. Mostly smuggling, third-rate hacking. But also someone who might be a third-rate. She might be a third-rate hacker, but she is a specialist in identity forging.
That sounds exactly what I am in need of, and I guess by tangent, all of the rest of you are in need of that too.
Yeah. Sorry, Caitlin. What'd you say?
Do we have a detour to make before we set off?
It looks like that might be the case if you're going to be trying to get through corporate space. This is probably the fastest way to find anything that's going to help you get that way.
I do not know what contacting or interacting with this individual would require, but I am happy to offer my services if need be.
Mostly it'll require tagging along. And if from what I saw earlier, you're pretty adept at staying out of sight.
Yes.
All right. Well. Well, if we should probably gonna want backup on this if she's managed to evade me thus far, and if she sees me coming, her first instinct might be to run. So
What do we have to offer her?
offer is not really the word I would use. More like
Pitch.
leverage.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I bought her gambling debts a while back. It's been
That's
taking me a
right.
while to find her to be able to leverage her with it, but
Is there any other information you may offer about this person before we try to attempt to engage with them?
Bit of a wild card. So be prepared for anything.
I do not like that.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
So with that, I think what we're gonna do, is anybody else who wants to go along on this, we can gather up the team.
Awakener, assemble. It just came to mind. I had to say it.
Excellent. Yes, of course. Important. All right. So, are all of you going, or
I'll definitely go.
Yeah.
If we have anything that we like need to do, like I'd be fine staying behind. But if we would just be chilling, then like I would definitely want to go with. Did Becker didn't say where he found
no, he didn't.
it? Oh, okay.
I assume like yesterday, Peach would have probably done more diplomatic stuff, so today should be free.
Probably. All right. Well, in that case, as you all gather, Becker leads you out, hails the public transport, and as you're you basically travel across Sulon, to an area where it seems like it's most of what's here in this particular. It seems like kind of like a little, almost like a strip mall kind of place. There's a lot of like fast food restaurants, things like that. A few like kind of boutique sort of stores. And there is a pretty rowdy bar. Rowdy considering that it is pretty early in the day cycle, and there are quite a few people in there. As you step out onto the street, Becker points it out and says, "Latest intel says that Riot's been hanging around this place the last week or so. So
Just a
Go
quick
in and
question.
wait around.
If what I've heard about her is true, I'm guessing that she's still in there. Sorry, what were you gonna
What
say,
was
Drac?
Tan saying?
And I was gonna say, she's attacked to fight or flight the moment she sees, or we try to engage with them.
That would depend on what stage in her evening out she's in.
Mm-hmm.
But
X watch.
yeah. So
How Becker, how unhappy would she be to see us again?
all of you, I don't know that she'd have an opinion about it one way or the other, but yeah, it like I said, it all depends on her mood at the moment.
Well, I can help.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a Bina.
All right.
And
Well-
we have a Peach who's great at talking.
Well, I mean, I've diffused a few drunk people in my time. Might as well go in.
Here to make friends, and Bina walks in.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You all make your way inside, and it's not. I mean, it's pretty rowdy. Even at this time of the day cycle, it's not packed, but the people who are in there are being pretty loud, and rambunctious. But it's the kind of place that it has sort of the look of, like, I would say kind of like a almost dinery sort of look. But it's definitely a bar. And you can tell because the whole place immediately, the moment you walk in, smells of spilled alcohol, and yeah, you can smell it. In some places as you're stepping, you're stepping and like the floor is kind of sticky, like where spills have dried. It's the kind of place that sort of feels like like the stickiness of the floor might be a permanent affair. So, but yeah, you here, let me get a thing. Yeah, you step in, and looking around the place, there's quite a few people who are look like they've gotten off of a late like a night shift of work, and are ending their workday the way many people do, which is at the bar. But there's just as many people who look like they've been here at least all night. And as you're looking around the place, Mason, you're the first one to spot her. You see an individual kind of at the far end of the bar who is noticeable to you primarily because of just the bright purple color of her full mohawk. A human woman, probably in her mid to late 20s or so, leaning on the bar. And at the moment, there is a big, burly, gorilla-looking man just sort of like standing over her. And as
How's she feel about that?
What? Totally unconcerned.
Awesome. Cool.
As you kind of key in and start kind of noticing where she is, you hear the guy saying, "Didn't you hear me when I said you're cut off?" And she just sort of takes another sip and says, "I'm barely listening now." And then just and he says, "All right, that's it." And he like reaches over, puts it like a hand on, like a big meaty hand on her shoulder. At which point, she just like takes the glass that she set down, without letting it go, turns around, just smashes it directly like into his face, and he goes back like shattered glass that has now like cut his face, like bleeding. He's like, "Oh shit!" And she just sort of stands up, sways for a moment, and then catches herself, and says, "All right, well, this place has really kind of lost its charm." And she turns and looks and sees all of you standing there.
He seems fun.
She looks around at all of you and says, "Well, all right." And she sort of straightens up, reaches over, grabs another drink out of another patron's hand, throws it back, sets it back on the counter, and then just continues walking past towards where all of you are.
Seems like a good night.
Says, "Still going as far as I'm concerned." So, you look like you're looking for someone, and in this case, looks like maybe me. Great.
Yes, you are the individual that we are looking for.
Look, I've had a really long night. Do I owe you money or something? At which point Becker goes, "Yes, actually." And she looks at him and says, "Okay, look, I'm a bit strapped at the moment, so I'm not really sure."
Not in like a bad way. Like we just kind of want to like chat.
She kind of like
We don't need just. Do you have like maybe 20 minutes before you hit the hay or whatever?
You don't seem like you're that familiar with my nights out. So
You want some
Before you find
some
another
food
place before you're not cut off.
she points over at Peach, says, "Now that sounds like an excellent idea." Like I said, bit strapped, so there's a lovely little restaurant around the corner.
Lead the way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn to the guy who just got like a glass in the face.
Yeah.
What's going on with him? Is he like
is like
on the ground?
no, he is. I mean, it looks like there wasn't any like major damage other than like there's just sort of some slight laceration across his cheeks. And he looks over and he fully doesn't seem to know what to make of the situation, because he sees all of you standing there and sees that she's leaving. Looks for a moment like he's about to go and like try to expedite this, and then just shakes his head and goes back to like
Before you go, because like I feel bad for him, it sounded like he was doing his job. Taeyeon is gonna go approach him like, you did your best. As he taps him, he's gonna use repair flesh.
yeah.
to try to help out with that wound, and like not address it, not even look like just a tap on a bed. I'm gonna say shoulder, probably like his butt or something at his height.
Nice job. Slap him on the ass.
Yeah.
Nice job.
A consolatory butt tap.
Yeah. He
Yeah, just
looks
like-
he looks at you and like feels his face, goes, what?
And Taeyeon just like walks away, like
This
before he
wasn't
can
as bad as it looks. And
She just,
Head wounds
does the
bleed
bill
more.
still need to be taken care of?
Riot stops at the door and goes, right. She turns around and goes, put it on my tab. And the bartender looks over and she says, you don't have a tab. That's exactly right. And just keeps walking out.
Out of character, I have like enough money to pay for this, right? Like,
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll turn back to the bartender and just give it to me. I'll just take care of it.
Yeah, he like looks at you and just says, like
For your
grudgingly,
troubles.
just says, if that
She
were
was
the
never
ca-
gonna pay you.
Yeah. Well, if that were the case, if this was really for my troubles, I don't think you can afford it. He finishes cashing you out, and then you exit, following
Have
Riot
a nice
out.
night.
And
I give him a big tip.
Yeah.
yes, support of workers.
Yep.
and CT like support Riot as they're like going down the street, so it doesn't look like we're just being led by like someone stumbling around.
Yeah. She's definitely got that whole like Jack Sparrow sway thing happening, like just just full on, like every step looks like her foot accidentally found itself under her. And yeah, but you
He's
make
fun.
yeah, but you make your way back out into the into the street. She does lead you right across the square to not a restaurant like she said, but actually just sort of a busy food stall. And so as you make your way over, she just leans in and says, "I'll take the usual." And she says, "And whatever my friends want, it's on them. So really, it's." And then she sort of turns back to you and leaning on the booth, saying, "So, you," and points at Mason, says, "You've got the look of a. Anybody ever tell you have a cop face?"
Ooh, good start.
Yeah. Yep. Close, but not. Once was a private eye.
Even better. Cop with an inflated sense of self-importance.
Oh, I never felt that way, but who knows?
So, to what exactly do I owe the pleasure? At which point Bekker says, "Well, like I said, I've taken the liberty of acquiring some of your gambling debts. Well, all of them, actually. So, good news is you don't owe anything to any of the numerous casinos you've ripped off. 'Cause the bad news is you now owe me. So." And she kind of looks at him and says, "Now, why would you do a thing like that?" "Well, I'm looking to meet with with an employer of yours. Really now? And who would that be exactly? Well, I was kind of hoping you'd tell me. Right. Okay. She looks at the rest of you and says, and you're all part of this.
Yep.
Tangentially.
CT putting distance. It's like, I am only kind of a part of this. Becker then says, all right, look, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that and make the arrangements for that later. But, well, we have a more immediate need at the moment.
We heard you were the woman to go to.
We're in need of falsified credentials for passing through corporate space. I've heard that you're pretty skilled in acquiring those. Well, you've come to me for forging. I can do that. And I suppose this will be bundled in with the deal that you're planning on offering me for my debts to be cleared. All right then. Well, first things first. And she leans over it just as the order of food comes out, and she just starts grabs it and says, "You sure you don't want anything? It's pretty good actually."
You recommend anything?
She just sort of takes grabs what looked basically what looked like fried rice balls and just sort of takes a handful, says, "Here you go," and gives you the rest of them.
Thanks. My credits, so.
Seems fitting. She says, "All right. Well then. Yeah, I can get you what you need. Thing is, it's gonna be a little tricky to get. I'm gonna need my forger's tools back, and unfortunately, was something that, though my setup is something that was taken by, shall we say, a less than satisfied customer. The good news is I know where the tools will be.
The bad news.
The bad news is they've been offered up as part of an ante for a prize. She kind of looks around and says, "Close your ears, cupface. Any of you ever heard of, any of you familiar with Conduit racing?"
Venus and Dennis already, I think, with the mention of the prize sort of thing was already kind of keyed in, and at the mention of Conduit racing, her antennas just go straight up and forward. She's like, "Yes."
Well, it turns out that this unsatisfied customer that I was referring to is a bit of a racer himself, and is a bit hard up for cash, so offered up my tools, my setup, as part of the ante for his participation.
It's not very thoughtful of him.
That's what I thought. Unfortunately, the rules are the rules, and once something's entered into the ante, it cannot be retrieved, except as part of the winnings.
So all we need to do is, all Bina needs to do is win, right?
Oh, you're a racer. You. Right, okay.
Maybe you've heard of me.
Sure. Well,
You might have.
well then, what's your racer then?
She'll pull up her terminal, and we'll do like a little holographic projection of Euphoria, and we'll say, "Seen her around?"
She just sort of gives you sort of a kind of skeptical smirk, and then kind of focuses in, and then you watch as her face just sort of devolves into a look of shock. She says, "No. You're Euphoria's racer." Well then, we might just pull this off after all.
So am I of the understanding that we are to enter a race for the winnings of your tools in which order to assist us?
That's about the long and the short of it, yeah.
Bina's kind of like bouncing at this point, like.
I like this
When-
plan.
Just a quick question: when exactly is the race, and where is this happening?
Right. So, race. It's happening at the nearby Conduit. Probably about a day away. If you're heading out that way anyway, shouldn't be too difficult. Just as long as you make sure to. Well, you did bring your racer with you. Well then, no problems then. We'll just head out, and when we get there, we'll enter into the race. We'll ensure that. Well, you'll ensure victory, and then it shouldn't take me more than an hour or two to falsify credentials.
And right while we're there, you just might not want to place any more bets. We already have. You're already owing us this favor, and it'll just get. It'll just stack up, and you don't want to be stuck with us all the time.
That's pretty reasonable, actually. Well then.
I mean, technically, wouldn't it be a good idea to bet on Bina?
Don't tell that to the gambler.
Well, so you said that you had something else to discuss. Is it related to this? Because if not, I can feel a major hangover coming on, and I'd like to get some more alcohol in my system before that happens. Bekker says, "Yeah, we can get you. I can get you details and a drink, if that's what it takes." Splendid. She turns and looks at the rest of you and says, "I assume we'll be in touch."
Yes.
You can be sure of it.
Bekker just looks and says, "Yeah, I'm gonna go and get her help." And I'll see you all
Until next
later.
time.
And Bekker sort of wanders off with her, and she says, as they're walking away, she says, "Now, tell me, have you ever experienced the Sulon nightclub scene?" And they're just sort of moving away.
Wow, what a woman.
Excuse me for asking, but are all the individuals that you associate with as colorful as this riot?
In different ways.
Usually,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A little bit here and there.
Okay.
It's not usually the same.
Okay.
Bina.
I get to race.
I'm like maybe a foot away from you. I can feel you vibrating.
You're
I
not
haven't
So
you
raced
need
in like a year. I have to practice. I don't think we'll get to practice.
how
That's
do you
okay.
practice for that? What do you do?
I haven't flown Euphoria in a very long time.
I guess that's a place to start. Flying her around.
Well, it's like riding a spaceship, right? It's it comes back to you. It's
Oh, definitely.
Would it be
Okay.
legal within Sulon airspace and or riding such an object around?
Absolutely not.
No.
I could probably drive her around with her camo on, but I can't. When she looks like a Conduit racer, she's definitely illegal. That's okay. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
I've done tune-ups. I'll probably do some more. If we have a day's flight, when?
I mean, the sooner the better.
Yeah, but
And-
we need. Wait. Are we going to do this and then coming back here, or is Riot coming with us?
So what?
Did we get a timeline on the mission, on the kind of like the Olympus Initiative shit, all that? Do we know when we're doing that? Is there a timeline?
It seems like basically the expedition is going to leave as like it's literally just waiting for this one last thing. So
Okay, so once we get it, we leave. Okay.
it's legitimately like you have to go through the conduit anyway. Like a day, basically, it would make the most sense in terms of efficiency to like leave on the expedition, do the race, and then go from there with the.
So we're not. Yeah,
credentials.
we wouldn't be coming back to Sulan.
Probably not.
Okay.
So in that case, would Awakener just go with us for the first half of the journey?
Bekker
and
has
then
his
have
own
someone...
ship. Bekker has his own.
Oh,
ship.
Bekker has his own ship. Okay, so that someone could take Euphoria back. So I
But
was like,
if you
"There's no."
but if you wanted to, you could have it be Awakener instead.
That's fair. We still don't really want him to like really have any
Yeah,
idea
see
about
it.
Awakener.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, maybe you have Bekker. We transfer Euphoria to Bekker's ship.
Invisibly. No.
Just put a tarp over it. Same thing.
Fair.
Invisible enough.
Nothing here, just a totally inconspicuous tarped object. It's fine.
It's just a
Just more tarps.
just a lot of
just more
tarps. Yeah.
More
It's just a pile of tarps.
Tarp peddler coming through.
Fit so many tarps and
So many
So many
tarps
tarps
on
in bad
this
way.
tarp.
You wouldn't even need to roll with that one. I mean, rock solid. So Bina, do we hold up signs? Like how do we cheer you on?
They
I've
have.
never been to a Conduit race.
You
Very
don't go. You don't go to a Conduit race unless you're a racer. They have like drones, and they kind of live cast it to other locations because you don't. It's all illegal.
Oh,
You know,
right.
betting on
Very.
it and like
Yes.
being a part of it, and so you want to be there because
Cool.
there's also nowhere to be there because we're racing on the outer
Ah.
hull of a Conduit.
Really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, so I can get you probably set up with a link to the, like linked up to the feed, and that we definitely, I would probably get like a feed code
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that I could like set them up with.
Yeah.
Well, just know that I'm cheering you on. We'll have signs in the ship, and we'll just.
I will. Oh my
I
gosh.
can't wait to watch this live. I've heard so many stories. I've never actually seen you race live. So I'm going to try not to like, you know, we've been friends for a while now, but like now that's like being a racing, it's kind of like a small fanboy moment. But I'm also trying to hide it right now. Am I doing a good job? Because I feel like I'm not.
It's
You're
okay.
doing
I
great.
can feel it. It's fine. It's
Okay.
good. I'm just very excited. And the fact that you're excited makes me excited again. So we're doing great. I think it's fine.
Okay. Can I watch you tune up? I want
Yeah.
obviously want to touch you for your baby, but how can I just like sit and see it happen? Okay, cool.
You can help me if you want.
Oh, okay, yes, please.
Do you want an autograph, Taeyeon?
If that's okay.
If you bring it back, will it be worth something in 50 years? 25 years? How many years in the future?
I think like 20 something. I honestly
20 something.
Jack doesn't remember. Teo knows it to the second,
Yeah,
but
knows
Jack
exactly.
doesn't remember. I think like 20 years. No, yeah, that would be worth a lot. And even if it isn't, I would just like to at least have it on my
Let's
phone.
give you
to
two. You
reward.
can sell one.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Mason, I don't think you have a cop face.
You really don't. You have a PI face for sure, but not a cop face.
Oh.
Are you okay? You're gonna like nudge Bina like, is he okay? Did he?
Mason's just feeling like he's just contemplating and thoughtful, like thinking like, oh, interesting. I wonder if like what kind of energy it takes to like spin around a conduit like that.
Mason's
He's
has
got like the
fully
math,
moved
mental
on.
math
Like,
going on in the back.
like somewhere
Is
else.
he okay? And he's like, the propulsion it would take to move that kind of.
All right, let's go ahead and cut to a little while later. Is there anything in particular that y'all want to do before setting out on the expedition?
Gotta pack. Gotta get awake. not Awakener's good to go. Got to get Euphoria ready to be transferred ships.
Yeah.
And I'll probably bring some extra tools.
Okay.
Nothing on Taeon, I don't think. Taeon just ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, Mason's ready.
Was there anything else that we needed to do on Sulan before we left? Like no other things we needed to pick up or do or
They wouldn't. I mean, we're going to be coming back to Sulan. So if we did need anything for like the base, like we'll be here
Okay.
when we come back because we're leaving Awakener.
Yeah.
And no, I don't have anything. Maybe just pick up some snacks for the trip. Some
Nice.
Sulan specific snacks.
Some good Conduit racing watching snacks. Like the
Yeah,
equivalent of popcorn.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like hot dogs and peanuts are like a baseball
Exactly.
thing.
Listen,
like what's
listen.
a Conduit racing snack? Like
Listen, Lucas likes popcorn a lot. So like for that reason alone, popcorn made it through from
Yes,
humans brought
yes.
popcorn into this galaxy.
it's different types of popcorn. Like
best
they
snack.
like cultivated new different types
Mhm.
of corn here in different
Yeah.
atmospheres.
Purple
and stuff, so-
popcorn, purple popcorn.
Everything's purple.
Everything's purple here.
popcorn.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, so with that, then I'll say that you all prepare yourselves as you see fit for the coming expedition. As you are preparing to leave, the crew members that are staying behind, which I believe is Ada and oh gosh,
Ada and Jade,
Jade,
and
yeah.
Becker, but Becker's coming with us for this first leg.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So they sort of stay to sort of see you off as you are departing Awakener for the for the ship. And Ada just sort of leans up, puts her arms around your neck, Taeon, and just sort of and hugs you, and then says, "Take care of yourself, okay?"
Don't worry. I won't do too many things that reckless. Just the right amount.
Perfect. That's all I wanted to hear.
Also, I'll send you the link to watch the race.
Yes.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. Jade is leaning in like, yes, please do that. Absolutely.
y'all get it. Don't worry.
Yeah. As you all sort of say your farewells to your the crew members staying behind, you make your way over to sort of one of the larger public hangars.
We're just pulling you for along in a little red wagon. Like, what's up?
Before we leave, actually, really quick, where's the doctor at this point?
Yeah.
Is she on the ship still?
Oh yes, almost. Actually, by this point, I imagine Becker probably would have relocated her.
Moved her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If Becker's taking her, then that's fine.
Yeah,
If she's on the ship. I want to go give a talking to whoever's watching her. But
I think that would have been like priority number one for Becker. He would just
Okay.
like immediately like, okay, let's move her to a secure holdings facility. And like,
okay, cool.
yeah.
Then I'm good.
So yeah, you make your way to sort of one of the larger public hangars where you meet up with CT, and as you walk over, CT is waiting right outside of a shuttle, along with surprisingly, Calvin Hayes is himself there, as well as a couple members of his security team. And as you approach, Hayes turns to you and says, "Well, there you are. All right. Well, so CT filled me in, told me that you found a secure way past corporate space."
I mean, we have
Yes,
way
that's right. That's correct. We do have a secure way through corporate space.
Fantastic. Well,
Currently in processing, so it'll
Yeah.
be a little bit of time, but it's on the way.
oh, all right. Well, no, I mean, I've been informed of the details, and it's an excellent plan. I'm very excited and surprised to hear that you've got a racer among you. He turns and looks at CT and he says, "Yeah, when I trusted you to find specialists, let me tell you, I had high expectations, but you went above and beyond."
Thank
Full of
you, sir.
surprises.
Sky, I can't.
Uh,
It's like
What
an
a
infomercial.
character, what a
Every time he talks, it's great.
He says, "Well, shall we board the shuttle? It'll take us to my ship."
Yeah.
Lead the way.
Is Euphoria on Bekker's ship then?
You could probably put it in the cargo bay of the shuttle if you wanted. Like it's big enough for that. It's
Bina
I
just
just
gonna
don't
like
like it.
sleep on it like the whole time that it takes to get there.
Yeah. That's fine. So Bekker's coming with us in his ship.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to put Euphoria on Bekker's
Okay.
ship.
Fair enough.
They're following us.
Yes.
So as the shuttle departs not too long afterwards, leaving the Sulon space dock, making its way out through one of the long tunnels that leads out to the surface of the asteroid. Once out into space, you can see as the shuttle turns and starts rounding the kind of curvature of the asteroid, hugging the side of it. Before, as you come around the corner, you see, you hear Hayes turns and says, "Well, what do you think? There she is, the Bellerophon." And as you come around the corner of the the curvature of the asteroid, you can see a large, just sleek silver ship. It's probably, oh gosh, it is not as big as some of the like the huge capital ships that you've seen. If anything, Bina, as you're looking at it, you can probably clock that it is a it looks to be some sort of like modified research frame, basically, is what it looks like. A frame that was developed for scientific vessels, specifically those studying deep space. Sort of deep space expedition type vessel, but modified. Although from out here you couldn't tell exactly what modifications have been made. But just a kind of conical ship, roughly, with sort of it's of Scoran design. So you can see that there are like sort of these panels that sort of and thruster pods that sort of stick off of it, looking almost like the feathers that stick up on the back of a harpy eagle's head, just sort of all over the surface, the rear of the ship.
You repeat the name again? The Bellerophon?
The Bellerophon, yeah.
Oof, she's a beaut.
Oh, the best deep space expedition vessel money could buy. I would know. And as you approach, the shuttle docks in the hangar. And immediately, Bina, you can see that there are crews that come forward and start offloading cargo. As you disembark, Hayes immediately like moves off away from you, and kind of with his very like businessman looking luggage, right? Like the sort of, and he turns back around and takes a look back at you and says, "Well, welcome aboard the Bellerophon. You'll be he says, you've been assigned quarters in the residential wing of the ship. You can feel free to pick whichever bunk best suits your needs."
Thanks.
Looking forward to exploring this place.
And he's already like moving off, talking to an aide who met him like right at the platform, and is just sort of
Apologies for Mr. Hayes. I can take you to the places that you will be resting over the course of this expedition if you prefer.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Please.
Actually.
Do you know how the ship got its name? Kind of a mouthful, huh?
I personally do not know. That would be something that you would probably have to ask Mr. Hayes yourself.
I'm sure it's a really interesting story.
Mm.
I like
Like how
interface with the
life,
ship like with my
life got flipped turned upside down. I would like to take a minute. I'll sit right there
Oh no.
I'll fly out to England and I'm gonna get you.
That's
Olivia
a
was
threat.
setting me up, and I was like, I need to take it.
So good. That's so good. Can I like with my terminal like interface with the ship at all? Like not
Yeah.
like to control
yeah.
anything, but just like I want to like Bina's just gonna like scroll through like specs and stuff. She
Yep.
wants to know what's like
Yeah,
what
easy enough
exists
to
here.
do.
Yeah.
Easy enough
Mhm.
to do.
Caitlin doesn't need particulars, but Bina that's what Bina's doing.
Yeah, most of the modifications seem to have been that basically like some of the research labs were removed and replaced with like habitation. So basically just primarily to accommodate sort of a larger crew. Um, Likely because a ship uh of this size and particular design wouldn't require too many crew members, particularly on long-term, like extended research missions. This one was just modified so that there aren't as many like labs and things like that, and yeah.
Is it really garish in here? Like, is it like
No,
super?
I mean, it's if anything, uh, it looks like what you would expect a research vessel to look like on the inside. Like it's pretty clean, utilitarian in its
Mm.
design. It's yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of waste in its design.
Okay.
Yeah. The quarters, on the other hand, as you arrive at them, the quarters are very nicely furnished. Not garish at all. They're very comfortable,
Mhm.
far beyond what would be standard on a deep space exploration vessel. But yeah,
That checks out. I mean, just
Yeah.
based on who he is as a
Yeah.
person.
yeah,
Must have upgraded those parts.
yeah.
I think Taeyeon, like once CT like shows us our quarters, I think Taeyeon would immediately like do like a perimeter kind of check, go through all the halls and everything to make sure there aren't any, just see if there's any weak points, any exits, entrances, stuff like that we might have to keep an eye out for, and weaponry as well.
Yeah.
If there's like, if this has any like massive
Yeah.
gun that we might be able to man.
At one point, I mean, you definitely do pass what appears to be like sort of a makeshift armory. You can see several of like the private security of Mr. Hayes sort of like setting duffels and unpacking weaponry. And as you're kind of passing by, one of them looks at you, sees you taking interest, and then walks over, and then shuts the door. Where it just slides closed.
Okay, rude, but I have my own weaponry, and it's honestly better than those.
You tell them.
I'm gonna keep walking past.
Yeah. So, as y'all are getting yourselves settled in, the quarters, like the specific quarters, they are similar to the original living quarters that existed on Awakener in terms of their design, but they are larger. And do have more have individual sort of more private spaces than the quarters, but essentially the design is very similar, where there is sort of a central common area, and then smaller kind of separate bunk rooms that split off of it. And Taeyeon, from your walk around, it looks like this wing that this particular sector or section of the ship that you're in has several of those, several kind of like habitation pods almost. And you currently have one basically entirely to yourselves. As you are sort of settling in, Alma sets her bag down on one of the bunks and sort of looks around and says, "Well, it's been a long time since I've been on a research ship."
Does it feel good?
It feels, I mean, there's a sense of familiarity about it that I appreciate.
Bet we could go check out the labs once we're all settled in.
Yeah, I'd like to see what they have as far as any kind of archaeology stations, or look into anything that they might have on. I imagine now that we're actually on board, they'll probably have more information about like mission pertinent information.
CT, is there anyone else here that we should meet? Anyone of interest?
You are so far the only specialized crew that currently exists to support this vessel. All other personnel have been picked from Hayes' own supply and are meant to just mostly serve as bodies for a purpose.
Yeah, I saw some of them. They weren't very nice. They just closed the door in my face, which was a little bit odd since we've been working together, but
Guess they're not specialized like us. Very kind of you to say, CT.
Speaking of said personnel, it would be wise of you to not discuss anything that was discussed in the previous days aboard this vessel, in case that anyone that it will report directly to Hayes about said subjects.
Understood.
they
Abriel,
seem especially loyal.
Abriel kind of kicks back and just sort of in the chair that she's sitting in, just puts her feet up on her duffel and just says, "Great, we're thrown right back into the middle of another cloak and dagger situation. Love that for us."
Yeah. Well, gotta keep it lively somehow.
It sounds that you have been in similar situations before, so I hope that this will not prove as difficult as your previous endeavors.
Oh, I'm sure it'll find a way of topping everything.
Good to be optimistic.
But yeah, CT, I really like that idea. We can go with that one for now.
We're all like, oh my god.
Oh god, okay. I was excited about the racing, but now it's kind of getting depressing.
Well, but your private quarters should be, for the most part, safe for you to discuss any matters that you wish. Just within any public sphere, just be careful with the words that you choose.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I still recommend that we do a full sweep of the room, just in case.
Mason's already on it.
I will help out as well.
Yeah.
If that's the role.
Yeah,
or not.
actually, tell you what, let's have that be a roll. We'll
I'm gonna give the stimulate ability. So
perfect.
Ooh.
reduce the difficulty
Okay.
of your next action by 3 steps. So you'll get the like sharp image, brights are brighter, darks are darker, colors are bright, whatever. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, can Mason's
Whoa.
eyes actually do an effect of some
Oh,
sort as
yeah.
if like a hawk has honed in on its prey and is about to dive in?
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure, given that you'll need to roll at all, but
Plus I have this.
yeah, plus you have that, and you're trained in,
And you have a cool prop.
yeah, you're trained in stuff. I don't think you need to roll for this because the difficulty was definitely not going to be any higher than 4. So, yeah. So just with that and the things that I remember that you have, you don't need to roll. You can anyway if you want to, but
I'm not gonna.
okay, cool. Fair enough.
As is your right.
I also want this to be a little messy too, because I want cushions to get kind of
Oh yeah.
just kind of
You're just-
disheveled a little bit and
Yeah,
exactly.
between you, Taeon, and Patch, like you just fully dismantle the room, the suite.
You're just watching amused, like
The
Yeah.
cushion just flies past Patch and their eye, just ocular eye, just like.
Yeah.
Bina's just sitting here, like she's not helping with the actual search, but she's just gonna sit and we'll get like moved from like cushion to cushion as they do them, but just like kind of like holding, like mentally holding, sharpening your attention is just like, oh, ooh, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll move over here. Okay.
Yeah. I'd say that in total, like a full sweep like a full thorough sweep of the room takes you about an hour. And at the end of it, you've found no signs of any kind of surveillance, and you are almost like you are basically like 97% sure that that there's nothing. If you haven't found it by now, it's because it's not in here. So it seems like CT was right.
Yeah, looks clear.
Bina will start putting the cushions back on the couch.
I appreciate your thoroughness. However, you could trust my judgment. I am not here to deceive you in any way.
It's not that we don't
I
trust
don't think
you. It's that we
Yes,
don't
we
trust
don't
like
trust Hayes.
everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting ban he is.
Yes, that is a fair assessment. I would not put it past him to attempt any such actions.
Yeah. Keep an eye on him.
That is what I am here to do.
Well, you keep your 2 eyes and I'll keep my eyes, and it'll 4 eyes, and not sure where I'm going with that.
2 pairs of eyes.
Me
You
and I
don't
is,
have to do
huge.
it alone. That's what
Yeah.
Peach is
Yeah.
trying to say.
I appreciate the collaborative effort. However, I believe in my own abilities in order to carry out this objective on my own.
Okay.
Of course. So, are you going to work on your? Are you going to work on your Florida now, or?
Right. I did. That's why we were gonna bring it on this ship.
I sort of assumed that was part of your preparation the previous night, but
Okay.
Okay, we can. Yeah, we can. You know what we'll do? We'll say that they're like the last final tunes will be the day of like when we actually race. So
Yeah.
you can come with me and help then.
yeah.
And we'll go and sit over on Becker's ship and do it.
Taryn definitely added it to his calendar, like, hi, emergency,
Memo.
we're helping Bina with Euphoria.
But yeah. No, it'll be. We'll do it right before.
Cool. Well, then before we go to break, I'll say is you spend a fairly uneventful day traveling to the Conduit in the region. It's for the most part, there's really not a whole lot of reason to like go about the ship, or Hayes basically sticks to his own quarters. And aside from the like just sort of exploring, moving around, and checking out, like familiarizing yourself with the basic layout of the ship, you probably spend a fair bit of your time just sort of in and around the habitation. But you arrive at the Conduit about a day later, and as you do so, those of you who are looking out some of the view screens are seeing outside are seeing clusters of ships, many of which are going through the Conduit, are like queuing up to go through the Conduit, but there's a lot more that aren't. And to anybody who is not familiar with the concept of conduit racing, this would just seem a strange anomaly. But for the most part, nobody's sticking around long enough in this vicinity to note the strange behavior of these ships. There is one in particular, Bina, that you recognize, that's less like a ship and more like a small traveling station.
Okay.
It's a ship that you recognize largely because this is the place where all official conduit racing business is conducted. And as you approach, you following through on your plans from before, you take a shuttle across to the ship. And upon arriving, docking with the ship, you are met in the hangar bay by a race official, an Anzalonian man who turns and gives you kind of this big beaming smile and says, "Welcome to the conduit race."
She definitely has. She has to have a helmet
yeah.
on. She's got. You don't.
Yes.
No one knows who. Like for
Yeah.
for people's reference, you don't know who the racers are. You don't want to get caught
Yeah.
knowing who the racers.
Welcome. Registration is right down that way, and be prepared with your ante for the pot, and good luck to you.
And Bina will
Wait.
go over. What do we have? Do we have
Yeah,
credits?
that's the list
like,
was
what-
also like,
Yeah.
do we have just
yeah,
give
I
them
figured
credits?
credits.
Yeah,
Credits was
you
our
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, as you make your way in that direction, Bina, you reach the registration, start kind of signing the very familiar entry forms.
You could probably use Hayes' credits for this. This is a
Yeah,
business
probably.
Oh,
expense.
almost
Yeah.
certainly that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was assuming. that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
happening. But yeah, he doesn't give a shit. So
Let's
yeah,
buy lunch too.
yeah, yeah. Let's buy lunch on our employer. Let's do it. Yeah. So
I
you,
have the company card.
yeah, you, Bina, kind of finish up signing up, and you can see the race official at registration takes it back and says, "Okay, let's." Oh, he looks up at you and says, "Euphoria, been a long time."
Been a while.
Yeah,
Hmm.
welcome back.
Happy to be back.
He, just sort of, you can see as he kind of taps on the pad and then swipes over, and you can see your terminal beeps as you received your registration, your race ID, and your the feed link, and says, "Well, welcome back." Um, and I think that's where we're going to go to break. So,
I'm so excited.
I was so, the moment you mentioned Conduit race, I was like, wait, what?
Ooh,
Yeah.
man.
all right, everybody, we'll be back in just a few minutes. So don't go anywhere. See you in a bit. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. When we left off, we were in the process. The crew was in the process of signing Bina up for a Conduit race to win back Riot's forging setup, so that she can forge them some identification to get them into corporate space. So, um, let's let's get into it. So, um, let's go ahead and say that some time has passed while the staging for the race is going on. So basically, Bina, this is something that you would be aware of, is that essentially how the races are staged is that because it's too risky to have anyone on the conduit for long periods of time, all the staging happens on this main ship. So all of the race prep happens there, and then at race time, the ship hovers near the conduit, like almost practically on top of it, and then deposits the racers. At which point the racers just have to sit and wait. So for those who don't know, conduit racing is a highly illegal racing sport. Illegal because it requires some amount of tampering with not conduits, but with the technology behind them. Whenever a conduit activates and a ship leaves or comes through one, the excess, whatever the mysterious energy that powers the conduits is, the excess gets shunted off, off of like various vents along the surface of the conduit itself. Racers race around the exterior of the conduits and have modified their pulse bikes to harness the vented energy for boosting purposes. Now, the thing that makes conduit racing difficult and dangerous is the fact that the pulse bikes are essentially contained only by the minimal amount of gravity that is projected by the conduits themselves, which means if you don't go fast enough, if you don't boost enough, you lose. But if you boost too fast, you run the risk of jettisoning yourself off of the conduit, breaking free from the gravity of the conduit itself, and just venting yourself off into space. This is the kind of thing that it specifically is not allowed by the caretakers. They don't like it, which is why the staging happens as far from the conduit as possible. Another thing that makes it dangerous that has absolutely nothing to do with the race itself is the fact that too much relies on timing at the beginning of the race, which means that in between the notification that the conduit is activating and the beginning of the race, the staging ship has to move into position, deposit the racers, and get out of the way before the conduit activates and the energy starts venting. So, it is dangerous in all ways and is illegal in about a dozen different ways. But that's what makes it appealing to so many people. So, where we are right now, Bina, you have received Euphoria as Bekker brought his ship in and offloaded her. And now you're basically where you're at right now is in the staging area, which is essentially just a repurposed drop hangar on the ship. You can see various racers and their crews running around trying to get any last minute modifications and tune-ups done to their vessels. Sorry, give me 1 second because I'm looking for a specific thing here.
I think already this is like, even before like the super juice, this was already such like a vibrating emotion type of like thing where people like the anticipation. You kind of get like a little bit of like an adrenaline high. And Bina, who is someone who before even, superpowers experienced, other people's emotions and could feel that buzz in this space. Now, this is our first time experiencing this with the like boosted empathic abilities. So I think this is just like, oh, she's like revving with it.
Yeah, all around you, you can feel that swirl of emotion, the nerves from everybody before the race, that anticipation, the exhilaration, and you, it is very nearly intoxicating. Like it's overwhelming. And had this been you 6 months ago, this would have been way too much. As you are kind of finishing up your tune-ups, you can see like Alma and Abriel make their way over to you, kind of picking their way through the various crews that are moving around. And Alma looks at you and she says, "So, are you ready?"
I think so. It'll be fine. I haven't done this in so long, but it's fine. It's second nature.
Well, you better hope so, because Abriel kind of glances around, just as, I've been looking at some of these other rigs, and they all look pretty impressive.
Some people like to show off.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Alma, meanwhile, is just sort of standing there, like looking at Euphoria, and just says, I don't know why, but it's just, I knew you did this, but it's just, picturing you.
She's in her full like jumpsuit get up with the helmet on. She's just like forearms out.
Alma just sort of smiles at you, just sort of looking you up and down. She says, "You look great."
Feel great. I think Bina's projecting a little bit of like emotion at this point because she can't see her facial expressions.
Yeah.
So I think it's like just a little bit of joy kind of a thing, so they know that she's smiling and is like good to go.
Yeah. Alma just sort of smiles and kind of like looks down. Abriel just goes, I'm gonna go get a seat, and just leaves.
Wait, could I have a kind of just like slip and be like, because Tane wasn't helping.
Yeah, Tane was helping me.
With the tune-up. So he kind of like slides out from underneath you from like, I'll probably leave you two alone as well. Just walks out after Abriel.
Are we there as well? Are we also like?
I imagine, you can be if you want to, but I sort of imagine that. There's you'd probably be allowed like as crew, right? Essentially like Bina's pick crew,
Okay,
basically.
good.
Yeah. As the two of you are walking away, though, Abriel just looks at you and she says, "How long do you think this is gonna last?"
I really don't know. I don't think either of them really realize. So, I don't know, maybe a month. I'm gonna give it a month before they
I think
understand.
at least 4.
You can see sort of like a sort of mischievous grin start kind of spreading across Abriel's face. She says, "Want to put some credits on it?"
Sure, why not?
As you kind of like start walking away, leaving the others there. Alma says, I made sure to prep a shuttle on one of the Bellerophon's shuttles just in case. Not that I think you're gonna, but just in case.
Understandable.
But-
I usually had like 1 or 2 crew. This is probably the best backup I'll have ever had for these. So, good to know that someone's out there watching.
Yeah, of course. At this point, you just hear, "Racers to your stations." And Alma says, "Okay. Well, good luck."
And she's gonna give her a hug.
Yeah, and you feel like from Alma just sort of a like nervousness, excitement, and just a little flush of embarrassment. And then
She'll hold her, she'll wiggle around the shoulder, be like, okay, all right, you have the, and she'll pass Alma the uplink to this whatever
yeah,
the feed is.
she gets a hold of it and says, "Yep, I've got it up.
Okay.
All right, see you later."
Here we go. And she'll swing herself into Euphoria.
All right. You can see as basically like any of the there are numerous loading mechs that are basically like moving several of the racers into position and stuff. Now are clearing the staging area, as are most of the crews. And you you can see as everybody basically like is starting to position themselves, getting ready for the staging to start. So, let's see. As the rest of you are getting set up, so here's the thing. Theoretically, you could be back on the Bellerophon watching, but you could also stay on the staging ship and watch in sort of like basically like there'd probably be like a room where you could watch from, like, get the drone feed from there. So it's up to you, really.
Yeah, I would want to be on the staging.
I think we should
staging
stay
action.
there. I think that really
Yeah.
gives the immersive experience.
Yeah.
A little bit of a crowd of all
Yeah.
like, the crews and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think CT is actually on the Bellerophon, but is not looking at the feed. Is just looking out at, like, through a window at the race.
Amazing.
As is.
Yeah.
I have a quick question, just a question, just in case I might need it. The conduits, I don't think I've ever asked, or I just haven't really like registered it. But how large is a conduit? Like,
Conduits
compared
are...
to like a normal planetoid, how large is the conduit?
No, they're definitely not in the size class of a planetoid. But
Okay.
like a conduit, they kind of range in sizes, but they are. Consider that like the smaller ones are large enough for probably like the largest capital ship to fit through.
Yeah.
Basically on with plenty of room around it. The largest conduits are big enough for several of those.
Okay.
For several capital ships to fly through. So yeah, they range, but generally I'd say the largest ones are probably somewhere in the vicinity of about a mile across. Possibly or the largest ones are probably more like 1 to 1.5 miles across, basically, in terms of diameter. So yeah, they're pretty big.
Have I wouldn't have raced on this conduit before. Would I have? I think I mostly raced near 23.
Yeah, that's probably true. Because by the time you started racing, you were already living on 23, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
most likely, yes.
Okay.
That said, I can imagine that Bina probably like hitched rides to
So,
some
yeah,
like relatively
away
nearby
games.
ones. Yeah.
Away games.
But the ones around Station 23 were more convenient because Station 23 is literally right outside of a conduit. So,
yeah.
but yeah. All right. So, as you begin this staging, you can hear the announcers come over the main speaker, and the rest of you start hearing this as well over the feeds.
Welcome, one and all, to the 50th annual Conduit Pot. We see a lot of familiar faces here, and so let's not waste any more time. In first position, we see Vicious Rush coming back to defend their title. Next to them in second position, we see Midnight Song. They'll have to pull a lot of fast ones in order to come back from their previous defeats. Next up, we've got Whirlaway. Let's hope that this time around they packed a little more punch in their engines. And next up, we've got Humble Armageddon coming back to tear up the conduit fields. And returning after a stint away, we have Euphoria. Welcome back. And finally, we have, last but not least, Wild Comet back for another round, their second race in their career. Let's see what they have ahead of them. Hopefully, there's something. All right, racers, to your positions.
Wow, Humble Armageddon, what a name.
The rate okay, you guys, just above table racer names are probably one of my favorite things that we came up with for this world. They're so good. Humble Armageddon.
Do they have odds like next to them?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like horse races?
They do. They definitely do. So you can.
Where's Euphoria in the odds?
Euphoria is actually at pretty neutral odds, and where you can see like the statistics that are coming up, a lot of it is as you're reading up, you're seeing a lot of it is due to the fact that Euphoria hasn't been seen in quite some time, so they really don't.
Recent stats.
Yeah, they don't have any recent stats on that, so it's actually like basically like pretty neutral odds. But you see as CT watching from outside, watching from the Bellerophon, you actually can see the staging ship beginning to move into position above the conduit. So, Bina, as you're sort of sitting there, how's Bina feeling in this moment?
Just overflowing with like adrenaline, like just so excited. I think there's like a little bit of nervousness. Not too overwhelming or anything, but there is a little bit of nervousness at the fact that she hasn't done this or like flown solo in almost over a year. So she's got that like that's just in the back of her mind. But I think more than anything, like the bleeding of the adrenaline with the other, like I think she used to just like let it affect her, like be like try to pick up on other people's excitement and stuff just because like it hyped her up. And now I think she's kind of like slowly expanding that to like feel the whole race, because I think maybe she could have maybe hit the one or two people next to her before. Like I don't think she could have felt the whole like all of the contestants before, all of the racers, but now I think she's been slowly like expanding to like feel all of it at once.
Yeah. And in that kind of cacophony of emotion and you sort of paradoxically find a moment of stillness as everybody sort of is feeling their rush of anticipation, of nerves, that moment of kind of like a held breath. You can feel that swirling around you and kind of find yourself feeling like an eddy in the chaos. And you watch as ahead of you, you can see as the hangar door suddenly begins to open. and as it does, you can almost like see like dust and stuff sort of whooshing past you as the air is vented. The atmosphere is vented from the staging area.
She exhales with it.
Mm-hmm.
She's got it.
Yeah. You see a display on Euphoria pop up that has sensed the depletion of atmosphere, and it immediately, you see Euphoria has automatically compensated and it has started your oxygen feed. So with that, as you kind of exhale, you prepare. You kind of glance to either side of you, seeing the other contestants around you. Seeing some of their helmeted heads kind of looking around, doing the same thing. And one second. Yeah. So as you're sort of looking around, preparing, there's you can feel that moment approaching. And as you look outside over kind of the horizon of the hangar, you can see first what you're seeing is just empty starfield. And then very slowly you start seeing from down below the curvature of the conduit rise up before you. As you do that, you can hear the announcer voice.
Racers to the starting positions.
And you can see as all of the racers push forward just a little bit so that now everybody is now out on the surface of the conduit. Immediately, the staging ship moves away as soon as the last one is out. In that moment, you sort of prepare yourself, waiting for the go-ahead. You can see suddenly like energy start spiking on the conduit, start moving around, and you know it's coming. And then you wait, and you hear,
Begin!
and all the racers are off. So, with that, Bina,
Yeah.
as all the racers take off, moving, just sort of streaking across the surface of the conduit, you are seeing those racers ahead of you jockeying for position, moving around each other. You know that it's going to be a second before the first vent comes up, but in that, you're going to want to position yourself. Generally speaking, better to stay kind of towards the middle of the pack before the first vent. So, let's go ahead and have you make a roll. This is gonna be a speed. This is gonna be a speed roll. The difficulty of this one's gonna be 3.
Okay. And she's little. That's why she, in her mind, that's why she does well, is because she can squeeze between everybody. Okay, so piloting.
Yes. Wait.
Vehicle driving.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Tasks involving sight.
That's not gonna help you on this particular task.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then, do I have any assets from Euphoria herself?
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Sorry. I have vehicle driving 1,
Mm-hmm.
Euphoria V2, and then I don't know if I want to start spending it.
Okay.
I'll roll on that.
Sounds good. All right, so you just need a 3 or better.
16.
Okay, so you were able to sort of dodge through a couple of these other racers, positioning yourself sort of towards the middle of the pack. You can see where some of the more aggressive contestants are already starting with their tactics. Where you can see up ahead of you where there are 2 racers that are locked together, just sort of like pushing each other. Those of you from the outside watching are seeing like the drone footage basically at this point kind of kicking in, and you're seeing it's rough. Like it is pretty, like it's not like you knew that it was illegal for a reason, but you're seeing this now. Seeing it is a totally different story, where you're seeing several of them colliding with each other intentionally, like trying to knock each other. Like you can see where one of them very nearly, one of the racers kind of lifts up very slightly above the surface of the conduit, and then manages to, through the compensation of the pilot, manages to come right back down instead of being shoved off. It's yeah.
This one. He's like on the edge. We're all on the edge of our seats, like eating popcorn.
Yeah. You can see where as like Alma is very intently just sort of like looking over, like looking at kind of at your personal displays, because there is sort of like a big one in the room that you're in, but you also would have your, like, you could have your own personal terminals keyed in. Alma is very specific.
Feel better that's closer. Like
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, Bina, as you are kind of positioning yourself, you're seeing on the display on the map, like the map that Euphoria has, you're seeing the vent is coming up, and as you notice that, you glance over just in time to see another racer. You recognize it as Humble Armageddon. Starts kind of keening to the side directly towards you on a ramming, like on a collision course, basically.
All right, well, we're gonna do something stupid, and she's gonna try to do a maneuver in which she decelerates rapidly and then accelerates back around it after they pass in front of her.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's gonna be another speed roll. The difficulty on this one is going to be is a little harder, but the difficulty on this one's gonna be 5.
Okay, so we have vehicle driving, asset from Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
Can I use involving sight because I'm trying to time this?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's everything.
Okay, great.
That's the roll.
Yeah.
It's fun when things that are harder become easier.
Yeah. 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 So go ahead. Describe how this looks.
So as she's looking around trying to gauge the racers around her, she sees the intention of the tiny like lilt of the nose of the craft kind of starts veering towards her just a little bit, and she rapidly decelerates, and as soon as they're about to do the ram, and as they pass over her, she's gonna try to speed up again past them, because they would have had to like match her speed to try to hit her perfectly, otherwise they would like pass or scuff. So that means that they're going slower than they probably would have been, so she's going to try to speed past them when they rocket to the side.
Yeah,
we're going with force theoretically to try to ram into her, so
it's true. And as per Bina's predictions, you know that they weren't expecting that, so you just rapidly decelerate, and they shoot in front of you, like they shoot ahead and in front of you, passing across your previous path, and as they do, you just fire it back up. I am gonna offer you a GM intrusion.
Obviously, I have to take it.
Obviously.
I'm gonna give the other one to Tan for helping me patch up my ship.
Okay, sounds good. Also, welcome, Cypher Unlimited. Thank you so much for the raid.
Welcome.
Good timing.
As always. Yeah, so as you rapidly decelerate, and in that moment, as you're decelerating, since you were positioned kind of in the middle of the pack, one of the racers from behind you starts coming towards you, and like rapidly, as they were not anticipating this move, that had moved into like directly behind you, and so they are now about to collide with you, and as they do, you can see they compensate for it, but immediately they go off, they overcompensate, going to the side and colliding with one of the struts that sticks out from the conduit.
Ooh, sorry, buddy.
And you can see, for a brief moment, you can see just sort of a blossom of flame that is immediately quenched. And you, Bina, are just barely able to maneuver as suddenly a kind of one of their thrusters goes flying off and slams into the side of Euphoria.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does this person seem alive still? Just wondering. Just
You
wondering.
definitely see like one of the drones like zooms down to like see this moment, and you just hear the announcer.
Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark.
And as the
Love
drone
this guy.
zooms in, you can see like there is like a floating like body. They do appear. You do kind of see them like kind of maneuvering, like suddenly maneuvering thrusters kick in.
Okay.
They do seem to be there. And like
Ouch.
Well, better luck next year.
Rip.
So, yeah. That said, Bina, you can see Euphoria has taken a bit of damage and is now like, as you go to like accelerate again, you can feel what's actually happening is Euphoria's acceleration is not responding.
All right. Okay. So one hand on the controls, 3 hands are reaching back to try to get some backup, replace something, whatever I have, because I mean this shit happens all the time. What can she's gonna try to pop something out and pop like, or we're gonna bypass something.
Okay.
As is tradition. Yeah, she's gonna try to get some hands back and try to
Yeah.
get a quick repair mid race.
Yeah, you can see
She's
as like
moving.
one or two of as you're doing this, running around, like a couple of other racers, the ones behind you, just shoot
Oh, am I
past
fully
you.
stopped?
No, not fully stopped, but you're definitely
okay,
not.
okay.
You're not.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So she's gonna try to quick reach into, because everything. So this is a one person crew. Like, it only fits Bina. Like everything is within reach. She's just gonna have to move fast.
Yeah. So go ahead and give me. This will be. I think.
Intellect.
Yeah. This will be an intellect.
Okay.
This will be an intellect roll. The difficulty of this one is going to be. It's going to be 5. The difficulty is going to be 5.
Okay. Mechanic.
Yes.
Jury rigging.
Yes.
Edge.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fly roll.
Yeah. Bina, you
We
just.
got places to be. We
Yeah.
gotta
You
go.
like quickly just start like. You're still like one hand on the controls, the other 3 moving around, like disconnecting like parts and just like messing with them, looking at them, checking to see how they're doing. You can see that what looks like something was decoupled essentially. So you just sort of pulled it out, just sort of do the classic like kind of like blow, like the equivalent of that
Exactly.
with while wearing like
Yeah.
a full helmet. But yeah, and then you just sort of like stick it back in, start. It's not a. It's
Come on, baby.
it's
Let's
definitely
go.
not a permanent fix, but it'll
No.
get you going. And as you finish
She knows
clicking
how to
it,
do this.
yeah, it clicks back into place. You can see as like the acceleration meter on Euphoria suddenly just, and you feel yourself slammed back into Euphoria with it as the G's kind of kick you back and you continue moving forward. Meanwhile, back inside, Mason, you can kind of feel somebody moving up close to you, and you just hear "What's up there, cuff face?" And you see as Riot sits down next to you with just like a full bag of popcorn, just sort of. So, how are we doing?
Glued
I
to
mean-
our seats.
I think Bina fell behind a little bit there. It seemed like they had a little technical malfunction, but they're back up. They're moving just as fast as they were before, so I think they managed to fix it.
Right, good. Well, let's hope that keeps up.
Oh, and
Oh,
I ordered this one for
no.
you.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
I figured that was happening. That was in the process of happening.
No.
Oh gosh. Okay, hold on. Oh, he's
Oh.
back.
There he is.
Oh, he's back.
Okay.
Okay.
But everybody.
Ready?
Okay.
I have
Ready,
no
everybody?
idea.
Ready? We're
Shuffle,
gonna
let's
fix it.
go.
All right, everybody
Ready
off.
to do it. Ready to do it. Everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
I have literally
Freeman, you're
no
up.
idea what just happened.
Olivia,
Conduit racing
Remy.
was too mighty.
Drag.
Got
Well,
it.
well,
Good.
well,
Yeah,
machine.
perfect. All right.
I was, by the way, I was gonna reach behind me and like kind of just where I can't see and then say, I ordered this one for you, and I'm just gonna make like a fancy cocktail, but it's in like a plastic cup, like it's like an all plastic cup that you'd get at like a sporting
one of those
event.
like yard glasses or something.
Yeah. Okay. I ordered this one for you. I figured you'd be dropping by.
She looks at it and says, don't mind if I do. And she takes it and just goes in.
I think she's better for everyone this way.
Yeah,
guys.
she just goes up, like lifts it up and just
Yep,
takes
good.
the whole thing in just one gulp. Like as she's just taking it all down. Alma is looking at her like she looks at Mason like, and the gun then goes back to the screen. And meanwhile, Bina, you're back, but now you're behind everybody. You can see the other vent coming up. However, you can see the first vent
Gotta
coming
hit
up. Yep. You see as basically others start kind of moving into path, aligning with each other, kind of falling into alignment. One of them, you can see it's definitely it's Humble Armageddon, has opted for a very risky maneuver. Generally, common wisdom on Conduit racing is that you don't try to jockey for position at vents. It's extremely risky, but you can see that they've basically like moved up and are currently in the process of trying to like knock one of the other racers out of the path of the vent and taking their spot.
They just like to push people around, huh?
Yeah.
That's their game here.
Yeah, it seems like it. You can see as that's happening ahead of you, as they knock into that one, the two of them are sort of like pushing each other, trying to get to the vent. You can see the other racers trying to get ahead of them, or at the very least try to get out of the lock in some capacity. And after a moment, you can see that they eventually just concede ground so as to avoid the lock and pull back, and Humble Armageddon pulls ahead. You can see as they're just sort of shot forward, you can see kind of like the bright flash as they're shot forward as their racer catches the vent and just dips over the horizon of the conduit ring. So
And I have enough of a lead on me. I don't even have to worry about it. I can just hit the vent.
You are
There's no one in
currently
front of me.
you're currently dead last. So
Yeah, it's perfect for me.
yeah. So you're coming up on that vent. If you choose, it's risky, but you could try to use the vent to get yourself kind of to boost past some of those nearest to you, if you would like.
Oh, obviously. Duh.
All right. Let's have a roll then.
right.
Oh no, did we lose Freeman again?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. Oh no.
Goodness. Oh no.
That conduit feed is really spotty, you know. It just
Yeah. It's messing with the Wi-Fi.
All right.
Here, I was worried I was gonna have internet issues tonight because we had to turn the air conditioning on.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah, internet's haunted.
Yeah. What would we like to do right now with this?
I
Do we want to go on a brief BRB or?
yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to like a brief BRB in this moment. So we'll be back in like a few seconds while we fix this. Okay, we're back. Hello. All right. So, in this moment, Bina, I'm going to have you are going to use the vent to try to boost yourself ahead. So let's go ahead and have that roll. This is going to
Okay.
be a difficulty. This is going to be a difficulty. I say this is going to be a difficulty 6 because this is a pretty risky maneuver. I mean, it's common, but it's a risky maneuver.
Yes. Yeah.
Because in order to use the vent, you're gonna have to risk jettisoning yourself off the conduit. So,
Is this gonna be like a timing thing, or is this gonna be like a speed or intellect? Is what I'm asking.
I think it's gonna be more of a. This is gonna be more of a speed thing.
Okay.
Primarily because of the like. There's not a whole lot of time to think in this. This is like a reflex kind of.
This is
Yeah.
reflexes. Cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Because yeah, you're literally not gonna be able to see where you're going until after you've hit the vent. So
Yes.
yeah. So let's go ahead and have that. This is difficulty 6 speed roll.
Sweet. Okay. So we have vehicle driving. Help
Yes.
from Euphoria. Can I use a sight for this?
Yes, you're gonna have to.
Okay. 5. I'm gonna roll on that, I think.
Okay, so you just needed 3 or better.
Like hoarding my speed just in case things get dire.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. 3.
Oh, Jesus.
We're good.
All right, so,
Yeah.
Bina,
It's risky.
you have this moment as everything just sort of slows down around you. It's you, the last place in the race, move up to the vent, and as you hit it, you can see as Euphoria's surface just starts kind of like scintillating with the energy that's being absorbed from the conduit. You can see as just like almost like bioluminescent waves is kind of what it looks like across the surface of Euphoria as her like energy capacitors start absorbing that energy, and you can feel the G's hit, and you almost black out. Just there's like a second where you almost black out, and as you hit it, you can feel that boost as you use that boost in that moment to launch, effectively using momentum, launch yourself ever so slightly out of the gravitational pull of the conduit. As you like launch up, you can see down below you wait for that moment where you can feel the gravity start to pull you back, at which point you accelerate, timing it perfectly so that you launch over top of the closest racer to you. And as you do,
She's a nightmare.
Yeah. You have that moment as you just land right down in front of them, and then just accelerate on. So, with that, Bina, there's a moment in that as you feel something that you haven't felt in a very long time, and that is you feel light. You feel like all of this weight that has been on you for months just melts away. There's nothing left but you, Euphoria, and the conduit. Nothing else matters.
Music is a little bit loud
Okay.
on this track, just so you know. The other one was
It's a
perfect.
good
This
song
one's-
though.
It's really good music.
How's that? Better?
Yeah, I think it's good.
So, you pull ahead of that last racer, moving you effectively up out of last place as you push ahead. Moving up, there are still, you can see that there's still a sizable gap between you and the next, the next contestant. You'll have to make up some ground here. Meanwhile, inside, those of you who are watching, just watch the maneuver that Bina pulled. As Alma like has like a death grip Peach on your forearm as she's just like, "Ooh, okay,
That was a good one, huh?
yeah."
Pained.
Yeah, I have total faith in her.
Mason's just stroking his beard, like, yeah, that's good, that's good. Just
Turn, like,
completely
has a
chill.
screen.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched this before, so like I don't know if it's normal or not. I'm just like, Kavina.
Yeah,
Turn,
it's
like,
okay,
has the
okay.
screen gripped like right up to his face, like, oh my god.
Is Mason a frequent Conduit race watcher?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I think that would be very funny if he's like, oh yeah, that checks out.
That would be.
No, it was Olam who knew shit
Yeah,
about Conduit
Olam.
racing. I was
Yeah,
like, that's right.
absolutely.
We're
Yeah.
on human.
Yeah. I mean, humans, they
So
all look the
only
same.
humans look
They all look
the
alike. Mason, as you're watching, Riot, who had seated herself next to you a little while ago, just sort of looking over at your feed, just says, Ballsy move, not gonna lie.
That's our Bina.
Well, might be I'll be getting my equipment back after all.
What's
You
good
had-
for you is good for us.
Did you
So
really
we
have no
are.
faith in us?
I always hedge my bets.
Hope you just mean that figuratively.
Sure, if that makes you
Nay.
more comfortable. And she just kind of says, I'm gonna get more popcorn. And she gets up and just looks at me.
You know, I turned to everybody else. I'm already thinking of the 10 favors she'll owe us next for the future debts that Bekker will acquire.
Yeah, I feel like we were, as much of a handful as she is, she might be very useful in the future. So I'm honestly not against it.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of Mason. You know what? Mason. As you're watching, you glance over to where you see some of the other pit crews are watching as well. And I'm gonna have you give me a roll here. There's gonna be an intellect roll. This is gonna be basically it's sort of a perception task here.
Ooh, of which I'm trained.
The difficulty on this is gonna be 4.
Is there anything shady going on? Is there anything like deceptive? Any kind of
yeah, I'll allow it.
All right.
So that's down. That's down 2, right? You're down.
Down to 2.
Okay, cool.
So now,
I think.
so am I?
Yeah, you're.
Can I just roll at this point?
Yeah, you just need a 6 or better right now.
Yeah, I think. Yes. Here. Ooh, perception is it? Wait, hold on.
I was counting that.
Perception. Oh, you did. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And investigation. I don't think so. Maybe. It's a skill.
You know what? Yes. In this particular case, I think that will matter. Yeah.
Mason's just always investigating everything.
Yeah. So
Alright,
it's
I'm
3 or
rolling.
better is what you need.
Okie dokie. I got a 6.
Nice. So as you're kind of glancing around, like something catches your eye, just sort of generally suspicious behavior from one of the pit crew. As you see, you can see that she seems to be fiddling with something. Like she basically right now her jumpsuit is like half unzipped, and you can see that her hands are like inside the zip, and she's hunched over and she's messing with something. And
I'm walking right up.
yeah, as you walk up to her, the Keldro woman just sort of starts and looks up at you and just says, "Oh, yeah, what do you want?"
None of what you got.
She says, I don't know what you're talking about."
Let me see it.
I'm gonna make a check here. This is gonna be for like intimidation purposes, I think.
Can I just pull out, just kind of like flash just flash my like,
Ooh,
and just
yeah.
kind of like.
Yeah, actually. So what you're seeing immediately, like I'm not even gonna make you roll now because you're seeing some like you're basically what you're picking up on it is like remote radio chatter. And so basically what you're seeing, like, it's the kind of signals that would be coming from some kind of remote control, basically. And yeah, so as she's looking at you, looks at that and just fine. She holds it out, and you can see that what she's holding is essentially like it's a controller, the kind that are often used for drones.
Oh, so okay.
That said, you also see that on it there is a feed from one of the drones, and you don't recognize the feed because it doesn't appear to be focused on any of the racers. It's just on some random part of the conduit.
Oh, that's suspicious.
Great.
And she just sort of looks at you and says, what are you gonna do?
Well, I'm going to take this for further investigation.
She just looks and just says, if you
I never saw you.
okay, if you turn me in,
I just want to make sure you don't mess with my friend while they're out there.
Yeah. If you turn me in, you'll get both of us disqualified.
Understood.
And she just sort of like looks at you and just you can see she like goes up to her comms, just says, yeah, no, it's over. Got burned. Yeah, Mason, as you're
Mason will just pocket it.
yeah, you take a quick look at it and you can see that the drone appears to have been actually, yeah, if you look at it, you can see that the drone appears to have been laying a net. Laying an EM net.
Gosh.
Yeah. Luckily it did not finish setting the EM
I was
net.
just gonna ask. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, meanwhile, out on the race.
Work, Mason.
Bina. You've got some ground to make up, so what are you gonna do?
I do. How is it a while till the next exhaust?
It'll be a bit, yeah.
Okay. So, I'm gonna. Sorry, what part of the conduit are we on? Like, is it just like on just fully on the outside, or are we like
yeah.
going like on an edge?
Yeah.
It's fully on the outside, right? Okay.
I mean, like, it's not entirely, not always, because like the vents are not positioned regularly around the outside. So like the course sort of, and like there are parts of the outside of the ring that would be impassable without like necessarily jettisoning yourself off. So like there are parts of the course that go out onto kind of like the surface, like the face of the ring. So yeah, right now you haven't reached that point yet.
Okay. So if like the edge of the conduit, is it like curved, the surface that we're on?
Generally yes, but it is an irregular surface. So like
Okay.
so it's more like
So-
it's circular around like the top and bottom, and then onto the sides there's sort of like parts of it that kind of stick out in sort of a much more like sort of rectangular almost. Not quite completely rectangular, as they're somewhat angled, but
Yeah.
I'd say probably more kind of like longer, like elongated trapezoidal shape on the sides, where basically it's like the housing for whatever mechanisms the conduit uses.
Okay.
That would be almost, because of like the angles involved, it would be almost impossible to traverse those. So like at that point on the edges, you would go towards the course would move towards the face.
Yeah. My thing I was trying to figure out if there was a way that I could do the like you run the interior ring to like if it's harder to do, but like it's technically would be a little bit of less track to
Right.
fly over. That's what I was trying to
You
gauge. if we had
could
an option
you
to
could
do.
theoretically do that. I don't know that it would gain you all that much is the thing.
Okay.
At
So,
this
okay.
stage.
That's what I was trying
yeah.
to figure if there was like it's more dangerous, but like it'll get you faster. Like if there was anything. Okay. So would I have any sort of like booster pack or anything that I could like once or twice use it or whatever, like a thing that
Sure. Tell you what,
I don't
spend
know
an
if
XP.
that's something that-
Spend an XP. And yeah.
No, I don't need that bad. I'm just trying to, if I can make up any speed, like am I gaining on anyone or am I solidly this far away from the person in front of me? Like not making up any,
You are.
like if I just push it, like can I get any closer this way?
You probably could. Yeah.
We're gonna do that first. We're just gonna try to just gain some distance just because
Okay.
I feel like I have a lot to make up still. So we'll save tricks for when I'm actually
Yeah.
close to people.
Sounds good. And then in that case, yeah, go ahead and make this will be a speed task, the difficulty of which is going to be 5.
Okay. Vehicle driving. Euphoria. Task involving sight.
No, that's not going to be.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so then let's do one. Spend one level of effort, one edge, so it's just 2 points. And I think I have to roll from there.
Okay. So you're down to what difficulty now?
2. So 6 or
Okay,
better.
yeah, 6 or better.
There we go. 15. Oh my god, I thought it was a 5. 15.
Yeah.
Much better.
So yeah, you start kind of coaxing a little bit of extra speed out of Euphoria, and manage to get right up level with the next racer up. At this point, that racer, you see as they immediately begin trying to like bump you, trying to sort of knock you off course.
All right. So if they'd be like leading with the nose of their ship, right? Probably to like steer that in.
Yeah.
It would be like angled to go that way.
Yep.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna try to
Yeah.
do. As they pull in, I'm gonna try to match their angle.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I'm still going the same speed. Theoretically, they're speeding up to ram into me. And if I go my same speed while we're going the same direction, they'll pass me. Is my guess, is my hope here.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And then I want to try to like course correct around them if I can angle with them like partially across, that I can get. I might have to pull the same thing where I pull back just a little bit to get around them.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely worth trying. So I'll say
Instead of a brake slam, I'm just gonna kind of like join them in the direction that they're going.
Yeah.
Until I might back off right away too. That might also be
I'm
what
gonna say that
happens.
this is gonna be an intellect roll on the basis that this is like requiring you to like make certain like calculations about speed and angles
I'm like
and stuff like
angles and like.
that. Yeah. So
Okay.
go ahead and make an intellect roll. The difficulty is going to be. You know what? Actually, the difficulty on this one's gonna be 4.
Okay. Am I like vehicle driving? Assuming.
Yeah.
Euphoria. Task involving sight. So I have to watch where they're coming in from. I'm trying to gauge with them.
Yeah, I would say yes. I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, that's 5.
Okay. Sounds good. Go ahead and are you gonna roll or no?
So I have to make too many rolls today. I'm only gonna roll when I absolutely
Okay,
have to.
Then so you're able to sort of maneuver around them basically, like as they kind of lead in to kind of ram you, you turn with them and like unexpectedly both of you kind of going off course, and as you do they push out a little bit ahead of you, and just as you're about to do that, you pull back in, just kind of clipping the tail with the nose of Euphoria as you like get the timing just a little close as you kind of clip the tail, pulling back on course and zooming ahead as they are forced to correct.
Yeah, I gotta go back around.
Yeah. All right. In the meantime, CT, as you're kind of watching all of this, mostly to, from your position, a lot of this looks like just sort of bright lights on the outside of the conduit moving quickly. You hear footsteps approaching behind you, and you see Hayes approach behind you. Says, "So, how are we doing? We winning?"
It appears that our racer is doing better than the racing odds would seem to predict.
He kind of rubs his hands together and says, "Good. I've been watching. Are you sure you don't want the feed?"
No, I prefer this method of observation.
Suit yourself. And he says, "Personally, I like to watch this kind of thing from the comfort of, you know, an actual chair. But that's just me. And he wanders over to like this very like plush seating area and just sort of sets himself down to.
She does.
And he
I
just
thought he was gonna go into like a little like from the comfort of, and then like brand name. Sorry.
Don't you hate it when you have an uncomfortable chair and you're watching Conduit racing? And you just like
Exactly.
flip to a screen where someone just can't seem to sit down in a normal chair.
yeah.
Are you too bi to sit in a chair normally? Wait, we've got a chair for you.
All right.
One of those for sure.
So, back over on the staging ship, Abriel is sort of looking over at the feed, and as Mason, as you sit back down, she just looks and says, "Problem?
Taken care of.
Good." And she says, "I seem to recall you owing me a drink at some point."
Now is a good time, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, one way or another, we're either going to need it to celebrate or we're going to need it to commiserate. And either way,
Let's do it.
great. And she just like pulls up the feed on her terminal as the two of you walk over towards where there is like an actual bar in this area, and there, yeah. Alma leans like looks over her shoulder as the two of you go and looks at you, Peach, and she says, "So how long do you think it's gonna be until that happens?"
You know, that's a really insightful comment, Alma. I didn't even really notice the tension between the two of them, but now that you point it out, it's really, you know, it's really clear. I don't know how I didn't notice before.
Yeah. She shrugs and then says, "Well,
What do you think?
oh, I mean, I'm not gonna place bets on it or anything, but
Just better than
I'm
mine.
betting, Terrence like slipping, I'm betting a month at least.
I think it depends how many drinks they get through tonight.
Alma looks over her shoulder back at where Mason and Abriel have now reached the bar, and she just says, "That's a good call. Neither one of them are particularly forthcoming with feelings."
Yeah, either one of them will almost die in about 2 months, or, you know, the drinks here will be really good.
We can only hope. She just grins and goes back to the feed.
Peach just kind of gives Dan a look and like starts like kind of laughing.
Terrence like, this is great. I don't
Oh man, we should go to these kind of things more often.
Yeah, no, this is a ton of fun. I think, and honestly, the spectacle is more. And he kind of like judges back at Mason and April, and also like points at Alma as well.
Cutting back to to the race. So, Caitlin.
I say, welcome to the club, Freeman.
It's so nice in here.
We have jackets. It's great. We'll dress up.
Wow.
Oh God.
Love it.
So, Bina, you are, you now have, you're back kind of towards the middle of the pack. You can see a ways up ahead of you, just before like the curvature sort of prevents you from seeing them. The remaining 3 racers are jockeying for position again. Like all 3 of them are trying to like basically engaged in sort of like this very like aggressive melee almost. And as you're watching, you watch as all of a sudden all 3 of them just list very suddenly to the left and tilt over onto the face of the ring.
Good to know. So they are probably at just a little bit of a reduced speed here because they're all kind of locked together.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to use that as my I gotta catch up. And once I get there, I'm gonna have to assess the situation to figure out how I'm gonna get past that. But I'm just gonna push it just to try to get up close again while they're all locked up because that's probably the best chance I'm gonna get to make up for this ground.
Sounds good. So as you push Euphoria, you reach the point where you can see the conduit very suddenly levels off into basically like a more angular sort of block. You can see almost like a building is suddenly in front of you. Is kind of what it looks like. And as you kind of round the crest of the conduit, you see your opportunity. And as you veer, very suddenly, your brain's gravitational awareness is doing some weird stuff, and you can kind of feel it in your stomach as you just sort of like tilt over, and suddenly for 1 second you're leaning to one side, the next second you're perfectly upright again. It's literally that quick. You kind of feel a brief wave of nausea, but it passes quickly. And as you rush ahead, that's when very suddenly you see it. You see some like debris that has sort of floated into your path, and you are on a full-on head-on collision with it. You have seconds to react. So,
all right. I mean, is there a path through it? Is there a keyhole anywhere I can slam through, or am I gonna have to go around it? That's kind of the first.
Yeah.
So if I can power through, if I can time a passing, I'm gonna do that. But if I can't, then she's gonna have to whip around it. I think you know what I'm gonna say here, which is that you can go around it, but it's gonna take longer, and you'll have to like basically reroute. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to do that.
So you can do that. You can try to make it through. But it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very tough.
Yes.
Can I?
Yeah.
This is the thing. Can I intervene in this moment?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Can I mess with the gravitational function of one of the ships that are ahead to veer a course more towards that asteroid or that debris?
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. What do you So, how are you accomplishing this?
I mean, I have an ability called Shatter, and using that as like a function to mess with a very small circuitry within that gravitation.
That's true.
Kind of function.
Okay, then yeah, I am gonna have you make a roll.
Okay.
This is gonna be. Ooh, I think this is gonna be an.
CT's power.
Gosh, is this an? I can see.
It is that is an intellect skill.
Right.
To use that.
I'm just trying to determine if because I'm talking precision. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. This is gonna be an intellect task.
Okay.
It's intellect task, the difficulty of which is going to be 5.
Okay. I had train in perception.
Yes, that's gonna
I'm looking
yep.
at it. I realized I have an edge in intellect also that I have started using.
Yeah.
Okay. Know a little bit about everything to affect. If I know a little bit about ship parts, know what needs to be the gravity of it and how to mess with it.
Yeah, I'd say so. Down to a difficulty 3.
Would you let me do eye for detail, noticing small things about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So that's down to a 2. So you just need a 6 or better right now.
I think I'm gonna roll on that. I think that's all I got.
Okay.
What was the original difficulty?
It was 5.
I think you just dropped it 4, didn't you?
No.
Yes. Wait. I did perception, a little bit about everything, edge, and.
Okay, but
He's
edge
for level of
power shifts.
But an edge
I
is
think
edge is not a thing that reduces difficulty.
Okay.
For the spending, it's how many points of edge do you have?
If you have it,
I have a 3.
Yeah.
3. Yeah. So free level of effort is what he's trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then yes. Then it is down to a difficulty 1.
Okay. Then I rolled an 8.
Okay. Great. So.
Good rolls tonight, everybody.
Yeah. So as you like focus in, you can see where one of those. You're talking specifically like one of the racers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if one of them is like specifically damaged at all, like focusing in on that one, and that is like kind of on the outside of the pack, that is more closer
Yeah.
to Bina in order to make that interception.
Yeah. So you kind of you can see that space, like the damage to the outside, and you start quickly like kind of collating that data. You just start looking at it, and like it's not even like you're making calculations. It's just you suddenly understand which part of it needs to change, needs to be altered in order to create the effect you need. And as you do that, you can kind of feel it. And all of a sudden, you can, Bina, you see one of the racers up ahead of you spark very suddenly, like a shower of sparks comes out of the side of it, and it just very suddenly veers off. And in that moment, you can see as it, like, the thrusters fire and then cut out as it basically like goes tail up and sort of flips up out of the gravitational like hold of the conduit, bumping one of the pieces of debris, and both of them start kind of going off to in kind of sort of altering course, giving you a little bit more space to go through in the middle. So
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a roll here. The difficulty on this
Yes.
one is going to be 6.
Okay.
This is gonna be a speed roll.
Speed roll. Okay. Vehicle driving.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
Task involving sight, because I have to like.
Yeah.
I have to see the way through.
Yeah.
5. And then I'll roll on that. You said 6?
Yeah, so you're down to difficulty
Okay.
3 right now. So you just need a 9 or better.
No, I'm.
Oh no, right,
I
because you're
dropped-
task involving sight, right? Yeah. So you dropped it. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, down to 1. Okay. Wait, I gotta put my goggles
Boy.
back on. They're hurting my head a little bit, so when I'm not in the scene, I take them off. Okay, here we go. 18.
18, nice. So as you reach that point, you have just enough room where you just take Euphoria and just flip her onto her side and go right through in between like the gap, like literally just sort of like tilting her up to one side, and you watch debris just shoot past below and above you, in that as you maneuvered through that tiny gap. Yeah, narrowly avoiding the debris with that extra little bit of space that, unbeknownst to you, CT gave you.
Yes. Teamwork. Okay. Woo.
Alright.
So what am I looking at? Am I still in 4th?
Yeah,
Is
but
that what's...
yes, basically, and now you're pulling up to basically the other 3 who are tied for first at the moment. There is a full lock that is taking place. Like nobody seems to be willing to give ground, and they're all just sort of jostling each other. Some narrow misses in some cases, as like some of the struts and utilities that you're zooming past come up. You can see even one of them gets clipped a little bit on one of the exterior vents. And as you're seeing that, you, Bina, are able to see that they are locked and heading for a vent.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. So up until now, Bina has been like, this is a race. This is just a race. You gotta have integrity. But then I think she's at this point realized like, I need to win this for the greater good. Like I gotta, unfortunate, but so she's gonna be a little dishonest with this, and she's going to, I'm gonna try to use blend in on myself and Euphoria, which will do nothing to the cameras and the drones. They will still see Euphoria. But these racers will not know where she's at until she is ahead of them. And I want to try to maneuver around and ahead to hit that vent first.
Okay. Yeah, so you go ahead and you
And I'll probably have to spend extra.
That's what I was
because
gonna say,
I'm
yeah.
Involving Euphoria.
well, not just that, but also you're moving very fast. So there's that.
Yeah.
There's that too.
It's a 4 spend initially.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be. I'm going to require an initial cost of 6.
Cool.
So
And
that's
this is like, yeah. And also, this is. Or no, okay, no. Creatures can still see you, but they attach no importance to. That's what it is.
Mhm.
It's not. I'm not
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
invisible in any way. They attach no importance to my presence.
wait,
for
do you
about
still
a
have
minute.
that? I thought you replaced.
Shit, never mind. I did the disappear. I
Yeah.
got rid of blend in because they cost the same. So never mind. I can't do that.
Okay.
It's still in my sheet. I just never got rid of it. My bad. Okay, so never mind. So here's what we're gonna do. See if I can put. Can I stimulate myself? A target you can touch who can understand you. Does that? Can I use that on myself?
I don't think so. Yeah. Like,
Mm-hmm.
rules-wise, it's unclear, but flavor-wise, I don't think Bina would be able to do it. I think, like, just in terms of, like, what is actually happening with that, I don't think that would
Mm-hmm.
make sense for Bina to be able to do that.
So I lost my idea here, so we gotta come up with something else very quickly.
A question.
Yes.
Are we able to contact Bina right now in any way? Like, are they completely cut off from us? Are we just like, or do you have comms or anything like that?
Probably not. Yeah,
Okay.
like,
Okay,
that would be something that specifically is required to be disabled during the,
disabled. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, never mind. Never mind.
Would you say that I've spent about 24 hours with Euphoria?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that you have that,
I don't actually know if this is gonna help at all, but can I get any sort of bonus or awareness here with ship speak? Like if I become more in tune with my ship and my surroundings, like would that help at all?
I would say it would probably give you, I'd say it'd probably give you an asset on a task.
Okay. So secondary asset to Euphoria already
Yeah.
being my asset?
Yeah, because
Okay.
essentially it's what you're doing is removing a level of separation between yourself and Euphoria.
Yeah, so it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
I might pull that in. I'm gonna pull that in and try to. How much is there space around the edges of these guys, or are they taking up the entire?
Oh, they're not taking up the entire thing. No, it's just a matter of like getting around them requires
Yeah.
Either tangling yourself up with them or like going far enough out of your way that it actually slows you down.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I can't hopscotch this, can I?
Try.
I kind of want to
You
try.
could try. Yeah.
I want to do a little leapfrog.
Okay.
Gonna get up right behind him, just directly in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, so it doesn't seem like I'm trying to edge around them. They'll probably figure it out, but I don't know if they'd know if I'd actually do it. But I want to get directly. I'm gonna get right up on the back bumper of the centered ship, and I want to try to leapfrog.
Okay. So yeah, you pull up right behind. And as you're approaching, you can see that none of them appear to be particularly concerned with you, as they are more like they know you can't get.
I'm behind.
They know you
them,
can't
yeah.
get around them, and they're just sort of like jostling with each other.
I think this is where the ship speak comes in. I don't think she's actually done it on her own before. I was going to once, we never did. So I think there's just kind of like when she kind of gets into this zone where suddenly I don't even think she realizes this like flip over into like she and Euphoria are one, and she's gonna attempt to do a nose up and get up and over, do a boost and get up and over before like grinding back down onto the
Okay.
onto the conduit.
All right, then I'm gonna need a. I think I'm gonna need
It's gonna be intellect or speed.
I think I'm gonna need an intellect roll on this one.
Okay.
The difficulty of this is gonna be pretty high.
Yep.
The difficulty on this one is gonna be 7.
Sweet. Okay, cool. Vehicle driving.
Yep.
Euphoria. Ship speak.
Yep.
I have an edge that eats it, just
Mhm.
one level of effort. Or the free level of effort. Can I use tasks involving sight at all for this?
I don't think so. Not on this one.
Okay. Then I'm going to spend 2 more levels of effort. It gets me down to a level of 1, right? You said 7?
Yeah, it was 7. You brought it down.
I brought it down to 6.
Right,
wow,
which
words.
like down.
Vehicle driving, euphoria, ship speed.
Which brings it down to 4, and then you spent how many? 2 levels?
I spent 3 technically, because 1 was the free level of effort.
Right. Okay.
Spent
Right.
2.
So it's, okay. Yes. Down to 1. Okay.
Yes. I'm gonna roll on that.
All right. Go ahead. You just need a 3 or better.
Wish me luck, y'all. 3 or better. 18 again.
18.
Oof. Good. Good pull.
Bina, you pull this maneuver as you basically get Euphoria right up, like almost like ramming, but you get Euphoria right up.
I'm gonna ramp up.
Yeah,
this
right
hill,
up on the back of the one, allowing them to pull you forward a bit, and then you accelerate, firing off up and over them. And as you do, you can feel the gravity of the conduit starting to lose its hold. But just at the top, with your like at the apex of your arc, you can kind of feel as you begin spinning off into space. In that moment, you and Euphoria are one, and you angle her down to the exact perfect angle as her thrusters kick you down, back down onto the conduit. As the gravity catches you, you use the gravity, pulling yourself down and firing forward, leaving the 3 who have been jostling each other behind completely. As you just zoom forward, catching that vent, and continuing, just you shoot forward, well ahead of either of the 3 of them.
Here's something I'm asking if I could do this. I don't know if I'll be able to. If I could have stayed close enough to them that they couldn't follow me through the vent.
Yeah, definitely. So basically what ends up happening in this instance is that most of, like 2 of them end up, just to save themselves, have to veer fully away. The last one manages to make it through the vent as well.
Okay.
And as you kind of take a quick glance back, you can see that it's Humble Armageddon.
Of course it is.
As they pull up right on your tail, Bina, you're reaching a point as you are seeing that kind of the last vent, as you are, this is the last one before all the venting stops, and the end of the race. So, it is Humble Armageddon's last opportunity to get around you.
Yeah.
They basically pull up right next to you. Basically, they're able to just kind of pull, like gain ground on you. And in one last desperate attempt, you can see, you already know what they're gonna do. You can see as they sort of pull just a little way away and start pulling back to ram you again. What are you doing?
They've tried to ram me. This will be the 3rd time, I believe. So here's what I'm gonna do. They know my tricks, and I would like to use that to my advantage. I want to push some fear and apprehension to them so they change their mind at the last second, because they think they know what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna push forward.
Okay.
I'm gonna gun it and get forward as soon as they, like, basically I'm trying to get them to hesitate, and then I'm gonna try to gun it.
Okay.
Way ahead of them. That's the plan. Hopefully.
Tell you what. Just spend an XP.
Done.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah. As you look over at them, you can see their helmet is turned towards you, as the 2 of you kind of like look at each other, and you push that feeling of apprehension, that doubt. You find that doubt in them, and you just cultivate it. And you suddenly feel it take root. And in that moment, as you feel it take root and they hesitate, you just gun it, catching the vent at the last second as they veer off, as they were way too close to you. That moment of doubt cost them, and as you fire forward, you come around and both slide to a stop, and you just hear,
And we have a winner, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary folks. Please put your hands together for Euphoria.
Woo, she is just like all four arms up, just like screaming in her car, in her craft, just at the top of her lungs.
Euphoria, euphoria.
Yeah.
Wow, what a
She
I
does,
was
she
gonna
does
say-
a
I was
little.
gonna-
She does a little where you accelerate only on one side, where the ship just spins really fast and glows a little bit because she's got a bunch of fun like LEDs in it, definitely. And she'll just like on one spot, just spin really fast, just as like a little dance,
Yeah.
little celebration dance.
God, I love that.
Do a little dance.
Taylor and Ada have been like live messing at each other in the group chat.
yeah.
Wow.
Ooh.
Are they all this exciting?
This was by far the best I've seen in ever. So no.
Damn.
Mwah, thank you, D20. Gave me some really good rolls.
All right. So
Let's. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say we're gonna cut to a little while later as the racers, those of which are in state to be recovered, are as you return to the staging ship, and as you are those of you who have kind of been watching from the sidelines, atmosphere is reestablished in the hangar bay, and crews are free to return to their racers, and as all of you amongst a huge crowd of the pit crews, make your way out onto the hangar where the racers are sort of pulling themselves together, and you make your way towards where Bina and Euphoria are.
She's
Whoa.
all four arms up as soon as she sees you guys. Did you see me? Did you see what I
Yeah,
had to
that
do
was
this in here? It was
so
amazing.
incredible.
I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it, but then I did it, and I haven't pulled some of those maneuvers in a very long time. Even the last time I raced, I don't think I did most of that stuff, but
You were in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Avriel just says, "Nice job."
She's still got her helmet
Yeah.
on, I think, because we're still amongst
Yeah.
other people.
Alma pushes past everybody and hugs you and then grabs you by the shoulders and then just shakes you and just, "You did it! That was incredible!"
I did it! I knew you guys were watching, so I showed off a little bit, but I paid off. It was okay.
A little bit.
A lot of it.
You see Bina, you kind of glance over and you see the racer for Humble Armageddon walk over to you, standing not too much taller than you, probably about maybe 5'3". They walk over to you, still fully helmet on and everything.
Yeah.
They walk over to you and they say, that was one hell of a race."
You've got one hell of a craft. I had a couple of close calls there. First, she's gonna also, as he walks up, as they walk up, she's gonna hold out her arm for a good game shake.
Yeah. And they look down and then just they take your hand and say, it was good. It was good racing against you. I mean, this was only my second race, so
You did amazing.
yeah.
Keep that up, man. You gotta, yeah.
Well, I just want to say that I actually got into racing because I watched one of your races once. So this was incredible.
Well, dang, now I wish you had won.
No, it makes sense. It's perfect. I think just means I got to get better because now I got to beat you one day.
Yes, you do. Watch that repetition.
Yeah.
I did it too.
All right. Well, I gotta get back to my racer and yeah.
Come here. And she's gonna pull out her um, terminal and do essentially like try to be like, come here, or try to see if they want to do like a photo with
Yeah.
Victoria and
Like,
me.
what? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And they get in and
And we'll still hold out her, and we'll still take a selfie. She's got three arm piece in one arm, taking it with Euphoria in it, obviously,
Right.
and then she'll send it to them.
yeah.
on
And they
there.
take it. Whew. Thanks.
Thanks for racing.
Yeah. And they like start walking away, kind of look back at you, and then just kind of practically run. They practically run back to the racer. Where you notice
Oh, they really were humble.
you notice that they don't have a crew. So yeah, you
That's how I started.
Humble beginnings.
you one of the race officials approaches and says, "Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And may I say it's a pleasure to have you back in the running."
It's been a while.
Sure has. The winnings from the pot have been transferred to the account that you specified on your entry form, and the rest and the non-monetary winnings, and they kind of gesture over to where you can see like basically like a small cargo sled being sort of pushed over, and as you're doing that, Riot immediately like goes over to it and just sort of like starts looking through and just here we go, this one's mine. She just sort of puts it under her arm. And the
What else is in the pot? Anything good that we can use for like?
Are you asking
for
if there are
the-
ciphers in the
look for
pot?
Ciphers?
Yes.
We can
I'm
wait
gonna-
till we can bring
yeah,
it back
yeah,
to the ship.
I'm
And
gonna say,
everything first, and
yeah.
it'll be okay.
We'll probably do that. We'll probably do that off stream, but
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, for the sake of this, then the race officials finish sort of with any official business, any of the like the last minute like registration stuff, and not too long from after that, you're joined by Bekker. Says, "I've seen a few Conduit races in my time, and that was definitely something." He says,
It's been a very long time. Felt good.
if you want, I can. I have my ship docked, and we can bring Euphoria back on board.
Sounds good.
While Riot here works her magic, Riot looks up and says, yes, they're magic. I'm trying a new thing." And they go back to,
Noted.
and you can see like they have the case open in front of them, and like kind of looking over their shoulder, you can actually see where like specialized forging equipment, essentially, which is like that's built into the case itself, and they just sort of like working.
Good.
Yeah.
Put them on top of Euphoria and roll Euphoria back so they can keep working.
Yeah. And true to their word, Riot manages to forge a set of false credentials in about an hour and a half.
Wow, you're really good with that thing.
Yes, I am. Thank you for noticing. They close the case and they say, "Technically, I think this is yours, but
Consider it a gift.
thank you." They take it, tuck it under their arm, and look at Bekker and say, "So, are you letting me go, or am I still remanded to your generous custody?" And he says, "You can leave whenever you want. I just figured you didn't have a ride out of this place." And they go, "That's a fair point. Sure." And Bekker turns to the rest of you and says, "Well, I'll see you all when you get back. And hopefully at that point we'll have made some headway over here."
Stay safe.
Yeah, you do the same.
Nice seeing you again, Bekker. It's been a while. Been too long.
Yeah, definitely. Well, swap stories when you come back, provided we have time.
I'm sure we will.
I'm gonna.
Hmm?
I'm gonna load up Euphoria, and when she gets her all like in with the cloak tech on, so she looks just like a dingy little tiny craft, and she gets the tarp like halfway over it, and she's gonna kind of like crouch down, like right in front of it, and just kind of like pat with all four hands like right on the nose of it, and it's just kind of be like, I missed you, and we'll cover her back up again and head back out to Hayes ship.
All right. We'll cut to a little while later, as arrangements have been made, the credentials have been passed to the bridge crew, and Hayes is meeting with all of you as well as CT, and he just says, "That was incredible. I mean, I have never actually seen a Conduit race before, but that was a. I mean, I've bet on quite a few of them, but this is the first one I've ever watched, and yeah, I can see what all the hype is about. Well, since we've got that last barrier out of the way, tell me, are you all ready to make some history?
We've been ready
Always.
for quite a while.
All right. He turns to the bridge crew and just says, "All right, Captain, take her away." The captain glances over at him. She turns to the rest of the crew, and starts issuing orders. And as the Bellerophon lines up with the Conduit, you see as the Conduit activates, and the Bellerophon flies through, and you can immediately see as once again like space just sort of warps around you, and you can see as just stars and nebula are just sort of rushing past you. You eventually, even later, you find yourselves once again just sort of in your quarters, relaxing after the whole ordeal, and as you are sort of beginning to settle in, I would say Mason and Tan, you're probably sitting. I'd say at this point you're sitting with Patch, who has both of you would have noticed that Patch seems as antsy as a Voxora can get, and they're just sort of weirdly fidgety.
Patch, are you okay?
I am fine. Why do you ask?
You didn't. You weren't always the greatest liar. You seem, Mason. You see it, right? They seem on edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got something on your mind?
They hesitate for a moment and then say, "Yes, there is something that I wish to tell you. Something that perhaps I should have brought up before now."
I mean, we've got nothing else to do on the way, so I'm all ears.
The region of space that we are going towards, it's largely unexplored for a good reason. It requires us to pass through a region of unexplored space known as the Tatters. They are large stretches of dark space, deemed impassable by most of the settled galaxy. This is a fact that the Voxora have used to our advantage in concealing our homeworld.
A home world.
Well, so to speak. It's not our planet of origin, but it is the place we have settled.
Are we going to be going past your said world?
Ideally, no. I suspect, and, well, CT suspects, and I agree, that this expedition is being launched to find the secrets of the Voxora homeworld. Something that has been sought by the settled galaxy for almost as long as the Voxora have made ourselves known. But there's more. At this point, Patch sort of glances around to the rest of you, and they gather everybody. They make sure to gather everybody. They say, "This is something that I would likely be in a great deal of trouble for disclosing to anyone. But it is relevant, and I believe you must all know. This expedition, it may lead us, it may be that this Hayes character is seeking the Voxora homeworld. However, it's far more likely that Hayes is seeking the entry point for the Voxora into this galaxy. The Voxora, like humans, originated elsewhere. I believe that Calvin Hayes is seeking a prime conduit.
He is. Or at least he's trying to. I heard him think as much.
He cannot be allowed to succeed. The Voxora sealed the conduit behind us when we entered this galaxy, for good reason.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt that. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't trust the prime conduit in someone's hands like Hayes.
In anyone's hands.
Agreed.
We must succeed.
So what exactly do we do?
We trust CT, and we do everything in our power to prevent Hayes from finding what he is seeking.
You can count on us.
There is one more thing. It is very likely that by telling and sharing this with all of you, I have ensured that I will not be allowed to return to the Voxora homeworld, at best.
And at worst?
At worst, I will be reassimilated into our collective storage, so to speak, for an amount of time that it would be determined by the Voxora courts. Effectively, my consciousness would be stored.
Mason just puts a hand on Patch's shoulder in like trying to be a comforting manner.
We're gonna do our best to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
My people believe that organics cannot be trusted.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
I have come to find that perhaps some, maybe. Patch very abruptly turns and leaves.
Too much emotion for one day. Too much vulnerability for one day.
Wait, did they finish telling us what they were gonna? Okay.
Avriel just sort of leans back and says, well, like I said, knew it was going to find some way of topping everything else.
Well, if we're not moving upwards, what are we doing?
Resting comfortably.
No time for that yet.
Soon.
Right. Before we end the show for the night, CT, you've been called into Hayes' office aboard the Bellerophon. And as you enter the office, Hayes is sort of swirling a tumbler of some amber liquid, and as he looks up, he says, "Oh, come in. Have a seat."
Yes, sir. What did you need me for?
Well, I think at this point, since we're off and running, it's time that I share a little bit more about what we're after here. I received some intel some time ago from, well, let's say a mostly reliable source. Voxora that we found poking into some of my other endeavors. Had some questions, so I don't exactly know specifically where we're going, but I did get a lead to a mining station that's just on the edge of corporate space. When we get there, I think we might have something. Might have I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what we're looking for, but it was in that Voxora's memory storage. What part of it we could decrypt?
Yes, sir. Would you like any of this information disseminated among the rest of your employees, or shall this remain secret between us?
Not yet. The bridge crew knows where we're going, and that's all that matters. For now, just make sure everybody's on alert. Don't know what we're gonna find.
Are you at all concerned about this Voxora individual, and are you aware of their condition?
Oh, they're not gonna be a problem. We've got him secured.
That would seem most reasonable, sir.
All right, well, enjoy the trip. Takes us a swing and says, "You're dismissed."
Thank you, sir. You as well, sir.
And he kind of swivels his chair around and has the activates the view screen so that the passing of Starfield outside is fully visible, and he just sort of swirls it. And as you exit the room, you can kind of glance back and see him kind of in silhouette against the Starfield as the door closes behind him.
As much as a Voxora can take a deep breath, does so, and heads off.
All right, and I think that's where we're gonna call it for tonight.
Oh,
Oh,
Sorry. Fucking hell.
Thanks everybody for watching me race. That was literally
that
all
was
I've ever
sick.
wanted from this.
That was amazing.
That was so exciting. I loved it.
That was so good.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We remember that this Friday on Ramblemancy, we're going to be joined by Claire Jackson at the Infinite Construct. We're going to be talking about prepping for the game from the player and GM perspective. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. I'm very excited to dive into that conversation because I've been doing a lot of it lately. It's literally the only place my brain has been living for the past couple of weeks. So I have a lot of things to say probably. And no, Olivia, before you ask, there will not be spoilers involved in that conversation, so you will not be able to gain insight into.
Damn it!
So yeah, tune in for that. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, I think we've gone late enough that I think I'm not gonna like drag this out. So I think we're just gonna go. So thanks again, everybody. We will see you.
Wait,
Yes.
before we do,
Yes.
I have the
That's right,
times for
yeah.
the Royal Solidarity. So over on Transplanar RPG, which is Transplanar PLANAR and RPG on Twitch, at 7 p.m. CST. You can convert it yourselves. I'm going to be on a panel called Sharing Our Truth, and that's going to be a panel just about how our experiences are being Asian or Black in the TTRPG community. The whole event started already today at 4 p.m. CST, and the first panel of tomorrow is gonna be starting at 4 p.m. PST and go on for about, I think, 4 hours in total. So if you want to see my part, I'm gonna be there at 7 p.m. But if you want to see everything, show up around 4, and it will be eye-opening, I think, and also just very entertaining. There's a lot of great people. My panel, I'm with B as well.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for
That's
that.
awesome.
I haven't had the chance to just hang out with B for a while, so I'm pumped. But yeah, come and watch and donate. Again, I can't remember the charity. I probably should look that up. But yeah.
All right. Well, follow Drac on Twitter.
Do it.
You'll get all of the information. All right, everybody. Well, we will see you on Friday, hopefully, for Ramblemancy. But if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody.
Night.